Sind wir live? Ah, 10 Sekunden, okay. Inspire heute am Mittwoch. Es ist gleich 17 Uhr. Ragnar, hallo, du bist auch dabei.
Hey Alex, ich grüße dich herzlich hier aus dem sonnigen, heißen Spanien, südlich von Barcelona. Noch nicht gelockdownt, uns geht's gut hier.
Ja, okay, sehr cool. Du bist aus dem Urlaub dazugeschaltet, das ist spitze.
Genau.
Das nenne ich mal Einsatz, oder?
Tolles Commitment, absolut. Genau, mein Herz brennt hier für Microsoft und diese tolle Konferenz, die ich leider nicht in Las Vegas wie sonst besuchen darf, sondern hier.
Ja, gut,
Ragnar, gemeinsam.
Ist ja schon die Frage, ne? Ist das jetzt gut oder schlecht? Wie findest du das denn?
Anders, irgendwie anders. Der Hashtag ist ja auch hier closer than ever. Ich denke, das wird interessant sein. Ich freue mich sehr, dass wir ein Format gefunden haben, wo wir vor allen Dingen auch die Konferenz Keynote gemeinsam mit ganz vielen tollen Zuschauern und Zuschauerinnen uns anschauen dürfen. Von daher wird es anders sein. Das ist heute für mich ein Experiment. Ich bin sehr gespannt, ob es funktioniert, technisch und vom Format her. Aber es ist auf jeden Fall mal was ganz Neues.
Definitiv. Und wir wollen es interaktiv machen. Das geht hier auch schon gleich los. Ja. Wir können mal reinschalten. Wir haben schon gleich so ein paar Comments gekriegt. Tomislav ist mit dabei. Wen haben wir? Sven ist mit dabei. Wir hören dich schon, Alex. Ja, da war ich wahrscheinlich schon live. Genau. Björn ist mit dabei. Alexandra Hanke ist mit dabei. Hallo Alex, schön, dass du mit dabei bist. Genau. Public Viewing haben wir ein paar mit dabei. Schauen wir an. Also, das sieht doch schon ganz gut aus. Wir sind sehr gespannt. Haben aber tatsächlich das Problem, ich weiß nicht, ob uns das so geht, auf dem eigentlichen Stream ist irgendwie noch nichts los. Ne? Ich schalte mal dazu, wenn wir da mal reingucken.
Ja, das hoffe ich. Wir haben noch 4 Minuten Zeit bis zum Anpfiff. Genau, und das soll es eigentlich auch werden vom Format her. Wir möchten, als wenn es ein gemeinsames Fußballspiel wäre oder, was ich, für die Frauen, als wenn man gemeinsam Dirty Dancing zum 30. Mal angucken würde. Wir möchten einfach gemeinsam das Event anschauen, kommentieren, diskutieren, eine gute Zeit haben. Und wir werden heute nicht vortragen, es gibt keine PowerPoint, sondern einfach nur gemeinsam die Keynote anschauen.
Ich hoffe, ihr
freuen uns sehr auf Diskussionen.
Genau. Ich hoffe, ihr habt es euch ein bisschen bequem gemacht. Ich habe hier meinen Sessel, ich habe mir meinen Puff hochgehalten, hier die Füße hochgelegt. Ja, also wir müssen ja ein tolles Feeling die nächsten 2 Stunden haben und im Stehen wollte ich das nicht machen. Also von daher, ja, wir können ja mal ganz kurz, ich blende das mal so ein bisschen ein, dass wir das mal nebenbei mitlaufen lassen. Mal gucken, wann das da losgeht. Eigentlich ist ja schon 2 vor. Ich weiß nicht, müssen wir mal Björn, ich habe ja Björn, unseren Regisseur heute wieder mit dabei. Ist auf der anderen Leitung irgendwas schon los? Gucken wir gleich mal rüber, dass wir nichts verpassen, den Anfang da, genau. Läuft auch noch nichts. Ragnar, was hast du denn jetzt von gestern schon mitgenommen? Also, da ist ja nun schon ein bisschen was passiert, ne?
Ganz genau, da gab es also einige spannende Themen. Ich habe natürlich meinen Fokus gehabt auf diese Modern Workplace oder Intelligent Workplace Themen rund um Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, Yammer. Und fangen wir gleich an bei Yammer. Yammer, the new Yammer ist jetzt offiziell vorhanden. General Availability, GA heißt das ja so schön in der englischen Sprache. Das ist jetzt ausgerollt worden oder wird es in den nächsten Tagen weltweit ausgerollt. Bei SharePoint haben wir jetzt SharePoint Listen, neue Listenapplikation, ist jetzt auch in der GA. Bin schon sehr gespannt, die bald zu testen. Und im Bereich Teams war mein ganz großes Highlight, dass es jetzt eine Namensänderung gibt von den Common Data Services und die nennt sich jetzt Data Flags. Und das ist nicht nur eine ganz simple, einfache Namensänderung, so wie es ja Microsoft schon seit Jahrzehnten gerne pflegt, sondern Data Flags ist eine ganz neue Art, wie man vor allen Dingen auf interne und externe Datenquellen zugreifen kann, Datenbankabfragen machen kann ohne dass man programmieren können muss. Das heißt also, ohne SQL-Wissen kann man da rangehen. Mit Low-Code oder mit No-Code kann man dann auch die Prozesse so optimieren, dass man dann nachher das Ganze aus einem Microsoft Teams konsumieren kann, also volle Microsoft Teams-Integration. Und das Ziel ist halt, dass die Citizen-Developer, die Menschen, die sehr aktive User sind, sehr erfahren sind und trotzdem nicht programmieren wollen oder können, dass die wirklich ihre Datenquellen anzapfen können, Daten transformieren können und dann nutzen können über die Power-Lösungen, Power Automate, Power Apps und dann nach Teams bringen. Das ist so halt die Story, wirklich eine Middleware-Schicht für Anwendungsentwicklung in Teams eingebettet. Es wird alles in Teams konsumiert, aber um die Datentöpfe anzuzapfen, dafür gibt es jetzt Dataflex. So, Satya, guten Abend.
By both a public health and an economic crisis, as well as the systemic issues of racial injustice and inequity in our society. These are global issues that require a global response. You all have confronted this, shown leadership amidst these challenges, helped our customers become more resilient during this time of acute crisis. As we navigate the response, the recovery, and the reimagined phases together. You've acted as these digital first responders to the first responders, supporting those on the front lines of this pandemic, from healthcare to education to public sector to critical manufacturing in grocery and retail. And you've helped businesses maintain continuity and stay open in the most constrained and the most difficult of circumstances. And as we navigate the response, recovery, and reimagine phases, we all have a collective opportunity, and I would say a responsibility, to define what comes next. We know it won't be business as usual. We will need to develop an acute sense of what should be rebuilt, what should be reimagined, and what should be left behind. I've said this before, the technology sector as a percentage of global GDP has been forecast to increase from 5 to 10% over the next decade. And this pandemic has accelerated that long-term secular trend we've talked about for a long time. To share a few examples, starting with the cloud, 89% of the CIOs say that they will now accelerate their public cloud investments from 54% prior to the pandemic. The adoption of data and AI is increasingly a differentiator. In fact, I would say existential for every business. As is this multi-sense, multi-device collaboration, which has made remote everything possible. These secular trends are fundamentally changing every industry, reshaping every industry, whether it's public or private sector. Just take the surge in telehealth. More than half of the primary care visits at some of the major healthcare systems are now being conducted virtually. And providers are increasingly relying on new capabilities like these AI-assisted bots to ensure patients get the information they need whenever and wherever they need it. Or take e-commerce, which has been pulled forward multiple years, according to one analyst. Offline retailers are embracing new models like contactless shopping, curbside pickup. And we're seeing more innovation than ever in fintech as people put aside their physical wallets in favor of digital ones, and banks are harnessing the power of AI to manage risk. And manufacturers in every category, from discrete to automotive to agrochemicals, are moving to automate everywhere, simulate anything, and quickly advancing from early experiments with IoT and AI to rapid adoption at scale, creating digital twins and using mixed reality for remote assistance and field service.
In 2 Minuten einfach mal alles gesagt, was sie gemacht haben. Wie viel Gas sie da geben können.
By digital technology, are more resilient, more capable of transforming when faced with these secular structural changes in the marketplace. We call this tech intensity, and every organization in every industry will increasingly need to embrace it in order to be successful and grow. We're working with a Harvard Business School to develop a framework as well as a scorecard to gather an in-depth understanding of our companies across industry sectors use technology to drive business innovation as well as transformation. Tech intensity inside of an organization creates new operating architecture, breaking up the traditional silos to expose the technology and data and business process workflows inside the company in a very modular platform. This enables citizen developers in collaboration with their digital and IT teams to respond to these changes in the marketplace, this new opportunity with agility. Our collective opportunity is to channel this intelligent cloud and the intelligent edge era into tech intensity for every business on the planet. Our solution areas were built for this era, and they are your tools to help people and organizations and entire industries not only thrive, but transform during this time of change. So your customers can empower their employees, fostering a new culture of hybrid work, engaging customers intelligently and virtually, transform products and new business models, and optimize operations to keep customers and employees safe. To not just reimagine, but build this future. Today, I want to spend time on the building blocks that power all these solution areas and enable you to drive our customers' digital transformation, and share what we are seeing, the ingenuity of the people and the organizations using our tools and platforms, your services, to reimagine what comes next. And call out how you as partners can build more successful businesses and add more value to customers by taking advantage of the core architectural principles and coherence that's built into the tech stack. Let's start with Azure. More than ever, organizations are relying on Azure to stay up and running and support critical workloads, from healthcare triage with AI-assisted bots to digital twins in manufacturing to e-commerce in retail. We are the only cloud that extends to the edge, from Azure Edge Zones for 5G to Azure Sphere for secure IoT. And we're removing barriers for anyone who wants to migrate to the cloud by addressing their data sovereignty and regulatory needs. We have 61 data center regions today, more than any other cloud provider, and more compliance certifications with 90 plus.
Und endlich auch in Deutschland.
Two data center regions this last fiscal year alone, in Italy, Israel, Mexico, New Zealand, Poland, Qatar, and Spain. Key to our data center approach is sustainability. Our customers see this urgent need and expect us to take action. As part of our commitment to be a carbon negative company, our ambition is for our data centers to generate net zero emissions, which will include having diesel-free backup power by 2030. Today, we have more than 200 ongoing sustainable development projects around the world, including a partnership with First Solar to build a first-of-its-kind data center region in Arizona, powered by 100% by renewable solar energy. And we're going even further, making it easier than ever for customers to reduce their carbon emissions with our cloud. Customers understand our overall differentiation, and today 95% of the Fortune 500 run on Azure. Just last week, Land O'Lakes, one of the largest farmer-owned cooperatives in the United States, chose Azure to power their business all the way from the dairy farm to the retail shelf. With our partner, Tavant, Land O'Lakes is bringing together the art and science from generations of farmers and cutting-edge technologies, applying AI models to aggregated data sets to help farmers generate new insights from their crops. Land O'Lakes also is building a digital dairy platform. I love this. That'll bring together data from across its member dairy farms, including weather, feed management, cropping practices, animal health, and financials. A new solution will use Azure Synapse to query the data in order to identify insights that will improve profits, reduce waste, and improve transparency in the food supply chain. We're innovating to address customer needs across the cloud and edge. For example, with Azure AI and its responsible machine learning capabilities are helping customers better understand, protect, and control data and models, super critical in today's world. With Azure Arc, we're providing a single control plane between Azure and the workloads on any data center or any cloud. With Azure Stack, you can modernize your data center with validated hardware that runs Azure Cloud Services. And now we're reimagining Azure Stack HCI to deliver that hyper-converged infrastructure software as a native Azure service, providing an easy way to manage your clusters and VMs from your Azure portal and seamlessly move between local or cloud management tools. Since Azure Stack HCI is now an Azure service, that means you will get regular feature and security updates. We have a choice of validated hardware from server class systems for data center racks to small form factors for the edge and remote offices like the Lenovo device right behind me here. When I step back and think about this infrastructure across the cloud and the edge and the incredible impact our partners and customers can have with it, there's one story that brings it home for me. Let's take a look.
So this all started very early on in the entire pandemic. You heard in the news every day that there was a need for more ventilators. One of our colleagues wanted to create a device to help improve ventilator capacity in splitting ventilators between two patients. To do that, we needed to run hundreds of millions of simulations that in total required almost 1 million compute hours. We applied to the COVID-19 HPC consortium, and then they paired us with Microsoft AI for Health. They pulled in experts and they figured out everything we needed for the infrastructure while letting us focus on the science. By Monday morning, we had completed 800,000 compute hours and finished the entire job within 1 week of submitting the application. We used the Azure Cycle Cloud platform because it allowed for dynamic, resilient computing. We were able to get 800,000 compute hours over a weekend. It was pretty amazing to be able to submit for FDA approval less than a week and a half after requesting the compute time. We hope that having a device like this will allow physicians to have a safer way for making these difficult decisions.
What an amazing life-saving device. Professor Randall's work, so critical in today's world, exemplifies the impact we can have when we are able to simulate anything with the power of the cloud. Now let's turn to developer tools. We have the most used and the most loved developer tools, no questions asked, on the planet to build any app on any platform. With the world's most popular code editing tools, Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code, developers are more productive than ever. With GitHub, developers around the world are able to collaborate and build software together. Over the last few months, we've seen increased developer activity across multiple measures, pull requests, pushes, and real-time collaboration. More than 3 million organizations, including the world's leading brands like American Express, Coca-Cola, and Home Depot, as well as digital-first companies like Etsy and Stripe, now rely on GitHub to go from idea to code and code to cloud. This modern developer service applies not just to startups and enterprises, but also to the public sector. Take the state of California. Like other governments around the world, California needs to quickly share information with citizens in the event of an emergency. Every second counts, and the state is relying on GitHub and Azure DevOps to rapidly churn out code and applications and websites in a fraction of time it would have taken us to do in the past. Previously, engineers would have had to deploy code and then find and fix the security risks later. But now the code is scanned in real time to discover the risks as they emerge, avoiding slowdowns in the production process. The result is more secure, more reliable services faster. The state can now stand up a new website in just 3 hours, down from an average of 18 months a few years ago. That progress has been acutely felt during the pandemic. 90% of the state of California's COVID-19 infrastructure now is built on GitHub and Azure DevOps.
Bei uns dauert das auch 2 Jahre in der Verwaltung.
To give developers new tools to power remote development, productivity, and collaboration wherever they are. VS Code Spaces, I'm really excited about this tool, for example, allows developers to quickly provision a dev box in the cloud. You can work from any device, even just the web browser, and have a powerful developer machine hosted in Azure for fast code build and debug cycles. And VS Live Share enables real-time collaboration between members of a developer team, no matter where they are. Now, this opportunity extends beyond just professional developers. Power Platform allows anyone to rapidly build low-code, no-code apps and workflows, customize and extend Microsoft 365
Leute,
and
das wird so wichtig. Power Platform.
integrate with hundreds of SaaS applications out there. If you can use formulas in Excel, you can create an app, build a virtual agent, automate a workflow, or analyze data with Power Platform. And one of the most exciting things for me is how professional developers and ISVs are using Power Platform as a rapid application development tool, as well as an extensibility framework. Today, 97% of the Fortune 500 are using Power Platform. And we have seen tremendous growth as organizations turn to Power Platform, especially at this time in COVID-19 response efforts. One example is T-Mobile. In early March, T-Mobile had a massive challenge on their hands. They were designated as an essential business, so the company needed a way to keep a fifth of its stores completely staffed while prioritizing its employees' health and keeping them informed. In just 48 hours, 2 T-Mobile business analysts, Greg Soto and Matt McDermott, built an app with Power Apps and did all of that. Their app let T-Mobile employees share their work status, including if they were available to work and willing to work. Managers could see who was already working in a store and who was working remotely and who was willing to work, but didn't have a physical store to work in. And use all that.
Wir können dich nicht gut hören, Ragnar. Sag nochmal.
Die sind auch der Referenzkunde für Project Cortex.
Ah, okay. Cool.
Responders connected. Today, we're making it easier for any business to return to the workplace with the same confidence that T-Mobile had. Our new return to workplace solution in Power Platform helps organizations manage their return to workplace experience end to end. It has 4 components. First, managers can use it to make informed decisions about when to reopen a physical location using data like COVID-19 infection rates. Second, employees can access these self-service tools to check into work or self-screen before entering a building. Third, leaders can use it to actively manage COVID-19 cases. And finally, facility managers have the tools required to manage occupancy and supplies and keep their locations open safely. Because it's all built on Power Platform, the solution is fully customizable and can be extended by partners. Huge opportunity as we speak for every one of you. It's already being used by organizations including CBRE, the world's largest commercial real estate services firm, to manage their return to the workplace experience. And together with Microsoft 365 and Azure, we have a full set of solutions to help any organizations keep employees productive and safe wherever they work. Now, there's one other aspect of Power Platform I want to highlight, because it's accessible to anyone in an organization, and it enables
Jetzt kommt's.
a big idea and the passion to carry it through to make it real and scale their impact. That includes people like Greg and Matt at T-Mobile, as well as a manager at Sterling Bank in Nigeria. Let's take a look at the video.
My name is Foyi Olajide Bello. I work with Sterling Bank PLC here in Nigeria. The first app I built came about from the request of a business user saying, we would like to put this Excel sheets on OneDrive. And I said, what we need to do is we need to build an app for this. And I built my first app using Power Apps. After that, people got to hear about the app and how quickly it was done. I'm like, oh, Foyi, I would like to build an app. So I thought to myself, why should I upskill myself alone? And why should every other person not know how to do this themselves? So I thought about the idea of Citizen Developer Academy. So the user group, we started with 2, and we started to grow in that way. And we're currently 1,200. And when they learn, they get so inspired, and they go back to their communities, they go back to their schools to start up local user groups there. So we'll have events, and most of the speakers will be male. That was what started out Textilers. We're currently over 300 women, all passionate about helping and supporting each other, using our knowledge in the Power Platform. For me, the Power Platform is not just another tool. It's actually a transformational agent. And I believe strongly that if we all get into this revolution, we'll get to a point where our whole country, Nigeria, will be totally transformed.
Wir nehmen, glaube ich, alle die Diversity Story hier auch wahr.
Bitte, was hast du gesagt?
Wir nehmen, glaube ich, auch alle hier die Diversity Story wahr.
Ja.
Es waren sehr
Aber
viele
trotzdem,
Frauen
ne?
im Bild. Aber das ist
Man
ja
muss
alles
trotzdem,
bewusst gewählt.
Ja, ist klar. Aber trotzdem, vom Inhalt her muss man ganz klar sagen, Power-Apps und die Power-Plattform, da müssen wir uns mit auseinandersetzen. Ich meine, so eine Story, wie du sie gerade gesehen hast, ne? Davon gibt es ja jetzt mehrere. Und das machen nicht die Systemhäuser gerade. Ne? Das heißt also, wir Systemhäuser müssen uns auch ganz stark ranhalten, hier mit Schritt zu halten. Ne? Also sehe ich auch schon als ganz großes Thema für uns.
Inclusive of new scenarios like curbside pickup, contactless shopping, and remote customer assistance. And we are seeing growth across Dynamics 365 as businesses from BNY Mellon to FedEx and Walgreens, Boots Alliance use Dynamics 365 solutions to build more resilient organizations. A great example is Patagonia, along with its partner Sunrise Technology. The outdoor retailer was one of the first to close its brick and mortar stores because of COVID-19. But they did one more thing. They made a difficult decision to shut down even their online sales to ensure the safety of their warehouse workers. So with that, they needed a complete new way to serve customers. They applied Dynamics 365 Commerce to the challenge. With the distributed order management capability of Dynamics 365, Patagonia can ship inventory to a customer from a store or from a warehouse, optimizing to get a single shipment to the customer. So Dynamics 365 mobile point of sale enabled rapid deployment of curbside pickup options, helping Patagonia ramp operations thoughtfully and safely while reducing the load on all locations, including the warehouse, and offering great customer experience. Patagonia's business need is not unique, and we are helping other retailers adapt to this challenging environment with new, innovative ways to serve their customers. As online transactions increase, so does fraud. New capabilities in Dynamics 365 fraud protection include account protection to help combat fake account creation, fraudulent account access, and loss prevention, which helps protect revenue by identifying potential fraud on returns. And we're also helping retailers reimagine the store experience as they work to reopen and keep employees and shoppers safe. Dynamics 365 Connected Store, this is another very exciting project, now includes traffic and analytics. So store managers can easily track the number of customers in the space and ensure that they're adhering to the capacity limits as well as the social distancing. They can also recognize customer vehicles as they approach the store so that curbside pickup order is just ready as soon as the customer pulls up. And more broadly, we are helping
Also schon die zweite Story rund um Covid-19. Ja, sehr gut.
Data and insights so that they can stay close to this changing consumer behavior. Dynamics 365 Customer Voice is helping customers, such as Toyota of North America, capture and incorporate real-time feedback into a single view of the customer so that a company can take action during moments that matter. Now let's turn to Microsoft 365. The way we work, learn, and experience events like this one is changing dramatically. As work norms evolve, organizations need a comprehensive solutions that brings together communications, collaboration, business process, built on a strong foundation of security and privacy. It's important to understand what has been lost, what has been gained, and through this crisis specifically, the balance between optimal productivity and employee well-being. The past few months have served as the largest at-scale experiment the world has seen for remote work.
Yeah.
We've been studying this at Microsoft to understand the changing nature of work and productivity, informing our approach to Microsoft 365. We've learned that video meeting fatigue is real. I've certainly felt it, and I'm sure many of you have felt it. Video meetings force our brain to concentrate more and carry a higher cognitive load, as you can see in this diagram right here. We also know that while meetings are important, they take place in the context of broader collaboration and workflow. Teams, the hub of teamwork in Microsoft 365. Teams helps people to be more productive and collaborative before, during, and after meetings, and addresses the fundamental challenges like video meeting fatigue. There are 75 million daily active users of Teams. We've seen tremendous adoption of Teams and Microsoft 365 from small businesses like the House of Lilac, a florist in Miami, Florida, to some of the world's largest brands like L'Oreal. A great example is from education. The University of Texas in Arlington, one of the largest universities in the state, with over 60,000 students. When the university had to shift to remote learning, it used Teams to do so, moving 13,000 classes online. And now they've been exploring new Teams features like the together mode so that students and teachers can feel like they're together in a classroom even when they're apart. So key to educational outcomes and that connection. Together mode is a new experience in Teams that uses AI to digitally place participants in a shared background. This makes it feel like you're sitting in the same room, reducing background distractions.
Bin so gespannt, wie das funktionieren wird, Ragnar.
Auf jeden Fall, ja.
Das wird super cool.
Are much more natural and, more importantly, more inclusive. Our research shows that the brain exerts less effort when participating in a meeting using the together mode compared to a standard grid view. We're also enabling an entirely new category of apps and bots by integrating Teams with Power Platform more closely than ever before. The new Microsoft DataFlex brings together the rapid application development capabilities of Power
Tommy, jetzt kommt DataFlex.
Databases, so anyone can create an intelligent app right inside of Teams. And we're making it easier to create intelligent chatbots with seamless access to Power Virtual Agents within Teams as well.
Da ist es.
Teams is the only platform with this capability, enabling both citizen as well as pro developers to build enterprise-grade apps that provide immediate business value. Finally, we're innovating to support the more than 2 billion first-line workers around the world who during this pandemic have been critical, including so many who are contributing to all the essential roles to keeping our society and economy functioning throughout. Workers at Honeywell factory in Houston, Texas, for example, are using Teams embedded in a wearable computer from our partner RealWear to live stream what they see to remote colleagues and experts while having hands-free conversations. This has allowed them to continue production and complete critical factory testing, keeping engineers around the world engaged to ensure everything is built properly. And they can sign off on certifications directly within Teams. Now let's move to security, compliance, and identity. This is so critical. It underlies the entire tech stack. It's a strategic priority for every organization, and the shift to remote everything only increases the need for an integrated zero trust security architecture that reduces both the cost as well as complexity. We're the only company.
Der hetzt aber ganz schön durch die Agenda, ne?
Ja, ist ganz schön dicht.
Compliance, as well as identity, powered by cloud intelligence, informed by 8 trillion threat signals each day.
Wir kommen ja gar nicht zum Kommentieren.
Much more acute. Cyber criminals have exploited the fear and vulnerability created by the pandemic to scam people and organizations for personal information and credential theft. They have had more opportunities to exploit email phishing attacks, for instance, as people have relied heavily on email while working remotely during the pandemic. The principles of zero trust are critical for businesses of all sizes and complexity, from largest of enterprises to the smallest of businesses, most vulnerable to attacks that depend on partners to provide critical security and compliance services. A great example is Serenitas, which operates housing communities for those over 55 throughout Australia and contracted our partner Vigilant IT to improve their security. During the initial deployment phase, AI in the Microsoft Cloud App Security flagged this impossible travel activity for a user account. This is a clever use of AI that identifies 2 login attempts from geographically distant locations and determines if the logins are malicious or benign. Vigilant IT investigated and discovered that the attacker was attempting to spread malware. Thankfully,
Nicht ins Altersheim.
security mitigated the threat as the malware was blocked by Microsoft 365 at multiple stages. Nonetheless, this was a powerful reminder why the principles of zero trust and an end-to-end security solution are so crucial and essential for all businesses. Serenitas has continued to work with Vigilant IT to optimize security and has adopted a comprehensive zero trust approach, including multi-factor authentication and data loss prevention capabilities, increasing their security posture even further and providing them and their communities with a peace of mind. We're going even further to protect every organization. Today, Azure Active Directory is used by more than 100,000 organizations with more than 300 million monthly active users. And we're expanding beyond securing just an organization's employees to protect their external customers and partner identities as well. In fact, General Motors, for example, is using Azure Active Directory to secure digital interactions with their employees, dealer network, as well as their customer base. And we are helping customers meet compliance requirements, protect their most sensitive information. New endpoint data loss prevention in Microsoft 365 helps organizations identify and protect sensitive information across all their endpoints. A great example is how this is built into our new Edge browser. I'm loving using it, allowing that
Habe
granular.
ich jetzt auch umgestellt. Ist schon cool, ne, was du damit machen kannst. Also.
Now, together, these tools and platforms offer unparalleled integration, architectural coherence, and extensibility.
Und sie rollen wirklich auch jede Woche neue Features aus. Also das ist schon echt beachtlich.
Ja.
Just a list of items in SharePoint. No code, just a list. You can then add workflow in Power Automate so that they can run whenever you make changes to that list. You can then build an entire app on top of it. Still no code, just using Power App. You can integrate it into Teams and collaborate with others in your organization.
So, alle Systemhäuser zuhören.
Advanced scenarios with the help of pro developers using Visual Studio. And with Azure Cognitive Services, you can build your own AI assistant right inside of Teams and help with workflows. Every time you ship a new version of your assistant, you can use GitHub Actions to do CI/CD and deploy to Azure automatically. All of this development can be done in the browser using code spaces if you want to. And all the data that is produced and managed by this app can go into Azure Synapse and then be reported in Power BI and used to generate insights inside of Dynamics 365. And ensure that all the data is protected using Azure Active Directory, data loss protection, as well as conditional access. That's the architectural coherence that can power your business as well as your customer value. All of these capabilities are available today. Moreover, this tech stack contains your building blocks to reimagine the world and have impact in your local communities. It's both our opportunity and our responsibility. This is what grounds us in our mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more.
Das gute Mantra.
Shows that for every dollar our cloud generates in revenue, in the local region, our local partner ecosystem generates as much as $9 additional. Think about that, 1 to 9.
Das ist der gleiche Wert wie im letzten in 2 Jahren. Ich habe aufgepasst.
Using the power of cloud to generate even more revenue. That means even more local economic success. That's at the core of what we do.
Gibt eine neue Teams-Lizenz, ne? Also jetzt haben wir ja noch ein bisschen was zum Draufpacken.
Genau.
An inflection point. It's time for us to get to the very core purpose of a modern corporation and what it means for the world going forward. We believe that the purpose is to create a profitable solution to the challenges of people in every community, in every country around the world. This will be foundational to the success of every
Tommy, da hast du recht. Tolle Erklärung. Also ganz tolle Visualisierung. Ich finde das sehr hilfreich, also diese Sketchnotes.
Demands of us.
Ist auch nicht so anstrengend wie gestern, wo der immer rumgelaufen ist irgendwie im Bild. Ne?
Man kann extrem gut folgen, ja.
We must ensure that this economic growth we just talked about,
wenn wir nicht dauernd quatschen würden.
For every country, developed or developing, every community, urban or rural, every business, small or large, every worker, first line or knowledge worker, and every person, including the 1 billion people with disabilities. Second, we are committed to building trust in technology and its use, spanning privacy, security, responsible AI, as well as digital safety. Third, we support the fundamental rights from defending democracy to addressing systemic racial injustice and inequity. And finally, we must protect our most finite resource, the planet.
Das Thema hatten wir in 2 Jahren nicht gehabt. Das ist sehr aktuell.
By 2030, we will be a carbon negative company across our direct emissions as well as our supply chain. And this week, we announced our first carbon fund investments focused on carbon as well as waste. But it's not just about us. It is about all of us as an ecosystem working together. The way so many of you are doing that today inspires me deeply. People like Professor Randalls, who is using Azure to get more people access to ventilators. People like Foyen, who's using Power Platform to scale her impact and skill others to advance their career opportunity. And to recognize this impact, we decided to create a new Partner of the Year award category this year, the Community Response Award. There were hundreds of amazing submissions, but I want to leave you with one from Canada that stood out. Let's roll the video.
Second Harvest is Canada's largest food rescue organization. We are a matchmaker between that surplus healthy food and the people that need it. When COVID hit, food insecurity increased exponentially. We were supporting Ontario and British Columbia. We had to scale the technology across the country. So we worked really closely with Redbit.
The original site wasn't built to scale. We pretty much used Azure throughout the whole system. We used Service Bus, we used Content Delivery Network, we used Cosmos DB, SQL Azure. Once it launched nationally, we were on pins and needles. Lucky for us, it didn't crash.
During the COVID pandemic, we've delivered 8 million pounds of food, which is almost 200 times what we usually do. Because of Redbit and our ability to scale foodrescue.ca, we are now fulfilling our mission in every province and territory.
To use technology to be able to help our community and Canada-wide is just a really great feeling.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the work you're doing to serve our customers, your communities, and the world. Enjoy the rest of Inspire and Ready.
Eieiei. Ja, Mensch, Ragnar, was war das denn jetzt? Schon zu Ende?
Ich glaube, sie machen nur eine Award-Vorstellung, ne? Genau.
And for helping everyone understand just how
Gavriella.
partners are, not just to customer success, but to Microsoft's mission. You know, one of my favorite things about Inspire every year is stopping and recognizing the incredible accomplishments of all of our partners and taking a little extra time.
Ich bin mal so frei, dass ich das mal kurz abbreche hier. Partner of the Year haben wir ja schon einige gehabt, in Deutschland ja auch. Hat die Telekom geschafft. Wie ist deine Meinung jetzt? Ich bin ein bisschen überrascht. Ich hätte jetzt ehrlich gesagt, wenn ich so an die letztes Jahr Inspire denke, da haben wir irgendwie 2 Stunden Programm gehabt mit Satya und der hat ja auch ganz schön viele Sachen rausgehauen.
Das ist sehr komprimiert gewesen, ne? Genau. Ja.
Sehr stark komprimiert.
Ja.
Ich meine, es geht ja noch bis um 7, von daher darf ja jeder hier mal reden. Aber so was die technischen Neuerungen angeht, hatte ich jetzt schon noch ein bisschen mehr erwartet. Guck mal, denk mal dran, beim letzten Mal hatten wir das Hologramm, was gemacht wurde, wo also eine Person komplett als Hologramm dargestellt wurde, in einer anderen Sprache gesprochen hat. Ja. Also da waren schon coole Sachen bei, ne? Das war jetzt ein bisschen knapp.
Bin gespannt, weil sonst ist ja immer so dieses Stil, er fängt halt erstmal an und so weiter, macht er die ersten 20, 30 Minuten und dann hört sich quasi Leute auf die Bühne, die dann jeweils mal was vom Modern Workplace vorstellen oder Azure und so weiter und dann machen dann die jeweiligen Leute dann extra Demos. Das wäre jetzt alles natürlich sehr, sehr komprimiert und sehr kurz, von daher natürlich auch kurzweilig, klar, auf jeden Fall. Aber es hätte gerne mal ein Stückchen länger dauern können an manchen Stellen für mich.
Und wir haben natürlich das Thema, dass viele Sachen ja auch schon angekündigt worden sind. Ne? Ich weiß jetzt gar nicht, was da die Strategie war, dass die haben ja letzte Woche im Prinzip für Teams zumindest ja schon ganz viel oder vor 2 Wochen schon für Teams ganz viel angekündigt mit Together Mode und so. Ich meine, das wäre ja eigentlich prädestiniert gewesen, dass wir das heute sehen. Wenn wir reingucken, was jetzt noch angekündigt worden ist, was neu kommt, bei Teams waren das, glaube ich, 4 Punkte, die sicherlich nicht den Impact haben, wie das, was sie vor 2 Wochen vorgestellt haben oder letzte Woche vorgestellt
haben.
Genau,
das ist richtige Frage. Ich kann darauf leider jetzt keine Antwort geben, aber ich dachte auch, das würden sie alles in eine Inspire reinpacken. Dann so ein bisschen das entzerrt.
Nehmen wir das nochmal eben von Martin mit. Der hatte noch was gefragt. Auf deinen Kommentar bedeutet das, dass die Komplexität der Produkte nicht abgenommen hat und der Kunde weiterhin so viel Unterstützung braucht? Ja, 1 zu 9,82 ist ja einfach nur den Revenue, den Wert, wie du das steigern kannst quasi. $1, den du reinsteckst, kriegst $10 raus. Ne? So interpretiere ich das ja.
Ja, das also genau, also das Partner-Öko-System und Partner sind natürlich die halt Systemintegratoren und Distributoren und die ISV-Partner und so weiter, dass die das einfach über die ganzen IP-Hoster-Lösungen natürlich noch viel mehr Geld generieren. Das heißt, das sind nicht nur die halt Beratung zu den Kernlösungen, sondern auch, dass dann halt dass das Öko-System mit vielen Add-ons und Produkten, dass natürlich auch halt Geld generiert wird.
Gut, aber dann ist das nicht das Thema der Komplexität, sondern dann, dass also quasi nicht noch mehr drumherum quasi mitverkauft wird. Ne? Deswegen steigt der Wert nicht. Sonst müsste der Wert ja noch höher sein.
Ja, ganz genau.
Gut, wir gucken mal rein, was Gavriella uns noch
So
zu
mal
sagen
gucken.
hat.
Mhm.
Ja.
Incredible.
Good partners know that the bottom line is only part of what makes them successful.
We measure success by making our clients smile.
By counting how many lives we improve using technology.
Good partners work to better their communities. They blaze trails. They deliver results, and they create solutions by using the tools at hand.
We make an impact on our community by opening up our assessment platform for free for all teachers and schools worldwide.
By being very open to who everyone is and what everyone brings.
They know how to leverage
Wahrscheinlich nicht.
Microsoft's platform, and they take advantage of the partner network.
We use the Microsoft Partner Network to support all companies' engagements.
The Microsoft Partner Network provides valuable resources, including the Microsoft Commercial Marketplace, which helps to extend our reach, and the end-to-end planning and execution of superior partner marketing with Microsoft.
This year, you've looked at the world you're a part of and made it smarter, safer, happier, better.
We made the world a better place by creating wiser solutions for every company and every individual.
Because we're bringing the people side of technology to everyone around the world.
Because whatever we do, we put our hearts into it. This award is an example of it.
Congratulations to all our Partner of the Year award winners.
Again, thank you to all the Microsoft Partner of the Year award winners. Now, let's take a look at some of those selfies.
Ragnar, ich sehe deinen Namen gar nicht so schnell.
Nee. Über Quest haben wir uns beworben, waren aber nicht dabei gewesen, ja.
Gibt's ja gar nicht.
Ja, alles möglich. Aber wir waren schon zweimal Global Partner of the Year, aber in diesem Jahr auch kein Finalist.
Those were great. Just like Satya, over the last several months, I have watched in amazement as you have responded in exceptionally challenging times. Your innovation through this global disruption has been absolutely inspiring.
Da ist er, Tomislav.
Added the new Community Response Award this year.
Ah, die meinten uns, ne?
Ich fühle mich schon angesprochen, obwohl wir
ja, ich auch total.
Haben, ja. Aber schon, dass es diesen Award gibt. Ja.
Definitiv.
I could spend the next hour talking about each and every one of these solutions. Of course, we don't have time for that. So instead, I asked some friends to help share the 3 finalists for the Community Response Award. To tell you about the first one, here's Scott Guthrie.
Two Microsoft partners, Applied Cloud Systems and NetApp, united to form a COVID-19 response program that rapidly.
Also alle, die jetzt gerade im Stream sehen, ihr seid die Community unserer Herzen.
In enterprises, nonprofits, and government agencies, and delivered critical IT support in healthcare. Applied Cloud Systems architecture, which is built on the NetApp's Azure NetApp file service, makes responding to the COVID-19 crisis easier by getting organizations stood up on Azure and our Windows Virtual Desktop service at a speed never before realized.
Das rote Poloshirt natürlich wie angehabt. War nicht anders zu erwarten.
Awesome. With our next finalist, here's Chris Capicella.
With the rise of COVID-19, the world changed in the blink of an eye. And Melbourne Hospital Austin Health realized that they'd have to change just as rapidly to continue serving their patients and staff in a way that was effective and sustainable. In collaboration with 5P and their solution, Teams Navigator, the hospital was able to immediately deploy Microsoft Teams for 8,500 doctors, nurses, and administrative staff in a heartbeat. Challenged by a highly dynamic, fast-paced situation with people's lives at stake, Austin Health's workforce were rapidly and seamlessly enabled with entirely new ways to communicate and collaborate, with no shortcuts on security, compliance, or governance. Thanks to 5P and their creative solution, they help frontline workers connect with one another so they can work together with greater effectiveness.
What Teams has done for us is it's brought people together in a way that's never been possible before.
So we've got the Navigator app to make sure we know who's in what team. It's business-led innovation.
So why I never thought I would have done medicine before, I'm not sure how I'd go back now without it.
As long as you're 50 clinicians and don't need to come together and can still collaborate on patient care.
Without putting themselves at risk, without putting the patient.
Incredible. And for the third finalist, here's Kathleen Hogan.
While communities across the globe are experiencing the effects of the pandemic, in the Philippines, one particular group was hit harder than most. The overseas Filipino workers, a group of modern heroes,
Die sitzen in einem Teamsraum.
provide for their families. With the help of the Microsoft partner NTT Data, the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration was able to quickly develop an application portal hosted on Azure to distribute financial assistance to those working abroad or dislocated from work. In addition, a tracker app was developed to monitor and manage the logistics of transportation to temporary shelters as soon as they landed in the Philippines. These resources, supported by NTT Data, offered critical aid to these invaluable workers displaced by COVID-19. It truly is an inspiring example of empowering others to achieve more.
So. Bin gespannt, wer jetzt gewinnen wird. 3 sehr unterschiedliche Fälle, Cases. Was natürlich schon jetzt fehlt hier bei diesen virtuellen Konferenzen, ist das ganze Feiern der Awards. Das war irgendwie ganz anders.
It was difficult to pick a winner. But there was one partner that stood out for the sheer impact of their solution. Their quick work and collaboration helped bring 1.4 million pounds of food to families in need across Canada. They launched a mobile app integrated with Dynamics 365 to make it easier for donors to donate food. And they created a grant portal to support distribution of federal relief funding. Satya shared their story a few minutes ago, and it's my pleasure to recognize Redbit as the 2020 Community Response Partner of the Year. Thank you for making a difference. And thank you again to all Microsoft partners who continue to inspire us every single day. And now, for more inspiration, I'd like to hand it over to Brad Smith.
Ja, Brad. Präsident.
Muss der jetzt mal einen raushauen?
Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to help welcome you this year to Microsoft.
Sehr sympathisch.
Every July is a special time for those of us who work at Microsoft because we get together with all of you. We get together in person, we talk together, we get to be together. It's a reminder every year to me that Microsoft isn't just a company, it's a community. Well, we can't get together this year, but out of every challenge, there's a new opportunity. So I bet you're asking yourself right now, why am I sitting in a kayak? Well, we get together in person, but with this video format, I can not only talk to you about what I usually talk about at Inspire, Microsoft's role in the world, but also show you around our community, Microsoft's hometown, Seattle. So let me start with where I am right now. The waters here were for generations the home of Duwamish, Native American.
Ich habe ja auch einige Videos in letzter Zeit gemacht. Ich möchte nicht wissen, wie oft die das drehen mussten, bis das im Kasten war, wenn der da auf dem Wasser sitzt.
An der Ecke war ich übrigens auch schon mal Kajakfahren. Das ist echt ganz, ganz toll.
But help Seattle come together and bring a new union of people from North America to Asia and beyond. And when you think about our community all together, that's what we're using digital technology to do today, to serve the world, to bring the world together. So let me show you around and we'll talk about what we're doing around the world. Come with me.
Aber das blaue Hemd des Anwalts trägt auch beim Kajakfahren.
Before we leave Lake Union, if you're like most visitors to Seattle, you may have one more question. You may be asking yourself, is this where they filmed the movie Sleepless in Seattle? The answer is yes. This is the lake, and that's the house. Now you too can say you've seen it virtually, the way we see everything in the year 2020. Well, this isn't your typical tour of Seattle. I brought you to a 65-year Seattle tradition, a place called Burger Master. The reason I brought you here is because this location in Bellevue happens to be directly next door to the building where the young Microsoft was located in the early 1980s. After Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded the company, they moved it from New Mexico to this area, and this is where they set up shop. Steve Ballmer joined them. It was in the building next door that the young team gave birth to products like Windows and Word and Excel. They're still with us today. But they gave birth to something bigger still, something that I think matters even more to all of us who are part of the Microsoft community today. It was a big mission. It was a mission to put a computer on every desk and in every home. It was radical at the time, so radical that the CEO of the second largest computer company in America said there's absolutely no reason anyone would ever want a computer in their home. Well, not surprisingly, that company no longer exists. But we've always been a company that believes in a big mission. Now, Burger
Da kann ich aber nur an Burger denken gerade.
Important for a second reason as well. In those early years in the 80s, every Microsoft employee next door had this restaurant on speed dial. If it was lunchtime, they'd pick up their phone, place an order, and walk over and pick it up. Its popularity remains today, as you can see. In fact, people like Bill Gates still stop by here and buy lunch. I'm here. It's time to order lunch too. Let me see if I can get it.
Here you go, sir.
Thank you.
No problem.
How much do I owe you?
Well, actually, that gentleman over there took care of the tab.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing. See what I mean?
Ja, das haben sie ja ganz schön gemacht.
But we're now in downtown Seattle at the Seattle Aquarium, as you can see from a few of my friends here, these otters. The Seattle Aquarium is one of the largest aquariums in the country, and it has a great and compelling mission. It's to inspire the conservation of our marine environment. I think that's a mission that speaks to some important work that we're doing as a company and a community. But before I dive into that, let me show you some other spectacular views that I think really frame all of this really well. So come with me.
Ich bin gespannt, wo drauf
Well, now
rausfällt.
you see behind me Puget Sound. It's one of the great sites in this region. It's where the waters of the Pacific meet the mountains of North America. It's an estuary more than 900 feet deep, dug by the last glacier that left this region 17,000 years ago. And as you can see when you look around, I think you get a glimpse of why it's pretty easy for the people who work at Microsoft in this part of the world to get so excited about what we need to do when it comes to environmental sustainability. As you know, in January, Satya, Amy Hood, and I, together with Lucas Joppa, our Chief Environmental Officer, came together and we laid out a four-part
CO2, ne?
focused on carbon, water, waste, and biodiversity. Now, we said in January that we'll be carbon negative as a company by the year 2030. That means we'll be removing more carbon than we emit from the environment by the end of this decade. Well, across Microsoft and with our partners, people have been hard at work. So there's a number of concrete steps we're launching this week. It starts with a new coalition that is bringing together leading companies who are prepared to take leading steps to really reduce their emissions, to work together and ultimately.
Hier ist das ist eine Allianz hier, ne? Das ist nicht Microsoft alleine, sondern eine Allianz.
That's been coupled with the
Hat
new
Thomas Mitleid nochmal heute darauf hingewiesen auf Twitter.
This week, we're announcing the private preview of the Microsoft Sustainability Calculator. It's based on dynamics, and it will enable our customers and partners to measure the scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions from all of their IT usage. To become carbon negative by 2030, we have to be focused on reducing our own emissions. It starts with the reduction of our own scope 1 and 2 emissions. These are our own diesel or electricity emissions, and specifically what we're saying this week is that all of our data centers around the world will be diesel-free by the year 2030. The even bigger step that we're launching this month is the first concrete things that we are needing to do to reduce our scope 3 emissions. Because as we said in January, we need to reduce those by more than half by the end of this decade. So the first of this month, the first day of the fiscal year, our new internal carbon tax to tax every part of Microsoft on scope 3 emissions took effect. As part of that, what we are now doing is rolling out for our supply chain a new set of sustainability reporting requirements. Specifically, what this will do is require our suppliers to report in a consistent way their scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions.
Die Mail habe ich auch schon gekriegt.
Negative,
Ja.
we need to do more than that. We need to remove carbon from the environment. During the next 12 months, Microsoft will take concrete steps to remove 1 million metric tons from the environment. We just issued an RFP to source the supply that we need to start to remove all of that carbon, and we're announcing the first investment out of the $1 billion Carbon Innovation Fund that Amy Hood shared with everyone back in January. We've recognized that we need to.
Ich bin gespannt, wenn zum ersten Mal die Zahlen rauskommen. Microsoft spart 1 Tonne
As a
CO2 und die Partner halt das 10-fache ein. Oder 9,82.
Don't affect everybody in the same way. In the global south, there's a tension with real development needs for those economies. Even in industrial countries, there are different needs for rural communities that are, say, transitioning off of coal, or communities of color in urban cities in the United States. The data shows, for example, that African American and Black individuals are exposed to 50%
Das war Alex.
hazardous pollution in the United States than the white citizens of this country. To address that, we're announcing this week a new partnership with Seoul Systems With this company, we will be investing in the creation of 500 megawatts of solar energy that will be delivered to under-resourced communities and which will prioritize as we purchase this energy.
Ach, Peter, ich
Ja.
vermisse das Reisen schon sehr, muss ich ehrlich
Ja,
sagen.
also da wollte ich gerade sagen, ich muss auch gerade mal drüber nachdenken, so ganz unrecht hat er jetzt irgendwie nicht, ne? Also
Naja.
die ganze Welt nach Las Vegas einladen ist schon ein Problem in dem Zusammenhang, ne?
Mhm. Aber von 7 Flügen letztes Jahr in den USA auf 0 Flüge dieses Jahr ist schon ein krasser Umschwenk für mich. Das tut mir schon ein bisschen weh.
Come together for months of hard work to get us to this point. There's a second aspect of all of these steps that I think have a bigger meaning still. It's what all of this means to our mission as a company and as a community. Think about the big mission that Satya created in the year 2014. A big mission that built on the already big mission created by Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer. It's a mission that pledges all of us as employees and as partners to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. One of the things we've all learned is that you can't empower everyone around the world if we can't do what it takes together to save the world. We have some other big responsibilities as well. To share a little bit about that, come with me as we go a little bit farther south down the way on Puget Sound. Well, we're now in Olympia, Washington. As you can tell, it's the state capital. As you might have surmised, the name Olympia comes from Olympia in Greece, a city with an extraordinary history of its own, and coincidentally, just about the last place I had the chance to visit in February before COVID brought travel to a halt. Now, in
Schon sehr
Olympia,
unterhaltsam halt gemacht, muss ich sagen.
we're
Das ist echt
working with
toll.
the AI for Cultural Heritage program to bring to life ruins that were built as early as 776 BC, the time of the first Olympics. And we're working in partnership with the Greek government, with the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Culture, and a terrific Microsoft partner, Econem. Now, this Olympia, interestingly, has quite a history of its own, because thousands of years before the first Olympics, the native population in this region was right nearby, right at the southern end of Puget Sound, because it was such a good place to collect and harvest shellfish, and therefore this became quite a place for gatherings. It ended up as the state capital in part because a Black man named George Bush in the 1840s left Missouri to try to avoid prejudice, got to Oregon, and was told that he could not live there. So he and his friends came north and they settled right here. And this capital today is really symbolic of the kinds of places that increasingly bring us as a community all around the world to address the issues that today are really fundamental to the protection of people's most important rights. This is one of the many places where we're working to safeguard democracy. This year, our Account Guard program is now up and running in 30 countries, almost half of the world's democracies. It's being used to protect more than 2 million email accounts, to protect politicians and government officials and think tanks from cyber attacks. It's just one part of our Defending Democracy program. Now, in recent months, we've done even more to expand our work to address people's fundamental rights. We've built on what we started 5 years ago to address issues in the United States around racial inequity. In fact, in this building 3 years ago,
Viele Grüße nach Hamburg, Fabian.
Legislature, the 21st Century Policing Program. It's a program that is protecting people by providing more capability on de-escalation techniques for police officers across the state. And just last month, we launched a 5-year, $50 million initiative to address racial inequity, not only by police, but by the courts and prosecutors. All of this connects to a second important set of issues that we're working to address here in Olympia and around the world. Let me take you inside. I'll put on my jacket, get my mask. I can show you and tell you a little bit more.
Geben schon viel Zeit drauf, ne, für das Thema jetzt. Also, ist schon bemerkenswert.
Ja.
The governor's conference.
Das ist schon mehr als nur ein kleiner Akzent.
Genau. Und auch die Maske kommt immer vor, ne?
Ja.
At this table and in this chair, that a bill becomes law, because this is where the governor signs a final piece of legislation. There's a little known fact that's actually one of my favorite stories about this place, because in the governor's personal office, there's a conference table very much like this one. But the governor, who was serving in the late 1970s, came in, she looked around and brought in a carpenter. And the carpenter sawed off part of
Ja, IOZ spannend beobachtet, ja.
all of the
Genau.
chairs except her own would be shorter, and she would tower above everyone. Now, that was 40 years ago, and no governor since has asked for the money to fix that. It's in buildings like this, capitals around the world, where the company, our community is really working together to advance trust in technology, addressing issues like privacy and cybersecurity, digital safety and the ethics and human rights in artificial intelligence. That is what brought us here and to many other places to do now 2 years of work to address the issues around facial recognition. And here at the end of March, the governor signed into law for the very first time anywhere in the world, a law to provide safeguards around facial recognition, to ensure that companies that offer it must make
Schon
it
schlau
available
gemacht, ein Vertrauen herzustellen, wie man sich da so positioniert in solchen historischen Städten und Flaggen und Fahnen.
before they engage in surveillance. To
Tja.
Es geht um Vertrauensbildung. Mhm.
Ich habe jetzt gerade die Vertrauen in die Technik verloren. Nee, da ist er wieder. Gott sei Dank.
Okay.
peaceful protest.
Ein bisschen ruckeln darf es mal. Ja.
Building blocks for the future. They are the types of things that we're seeking to advance around the
Herr Peter,
world.
volle Zustimmung. Ja. Das ist mir auch neu, dass es so intensiv und lange ist.
Vital for what we're trying to do. I think that's a great transition to an even broader set of issues that we're working to address. They're issues that take us back to Seattle, to one of the most prominent sites the city has to offer. Come with me.
Seattle Grace, oder? Ist das das Krankenhaus?
So, die gute Space Needle.
Seattle, quite like the Space Needle. It's clearly an icon for the entire region. It was built for the 1962 World's Fair. It was first designed on the back of a napkin, inspired by the tower in Stuttgart, Germany. It took a community to make it real. Because it wasn't built by the government. It took community leaders to find the land, to raise the money, and then it was a mad dash to the finish to get it done in time. They brought in 467 cement trucks. Within 12 hours, they filled a hole 120 feet wide and 30 feet deep. And of course, it still stands proudly today. So come join me as we go to the top.
Well, ja, glaube ich nicht mehr halt empfehlen, das muss man nicht empfehlen, da mal hinzugehen, wenn man in Seattle ist. Oder, obwohl jeder schon mal, der dort war.
Mountains in the United States. And down below, you see the city of Seattle. People increasingly refer to it as Cloud City, and for good reason. It's not just what Microsoft started and what a company like Amazon has added to. There are now 80 tech companies headquartered in Silicon Valley that have engineering offices in this city. I think the word Cloud City also speaks to us in another way, because it really calls to mind
Mount René, ein Traumberg. Ja.
That we have at Microsoft and as a community to support people around the world as they use the cloud. In so many ways, as we look to the decade ahead, that increasingly starts by thinking about the digital sovereignty of every nation, to make sure that what is created in this area is accessible to every nation. And to do that in the right way.
Ja, das ist so recht, Heino. Ja.
Protect digital sovereignty. To
Das
protect
ist Heino?
Das ist Heino, ja.
Okay.
To
Das ist ein privater Account.
national security as well. It also means promoting local economic opportunity. And that's what we're doing as a company. That's in part why we launched this spring our open data campaign. It's really all about making sure that the economies of scale for data and AI are available to every country, to every economy, to every business, large and small, as we take new steps to bring this to life to make it real for more parts of the world. But in a very important way, our need to serve the world, to serve every local economy around the world, is even broader than that. Because we have a huge focus, a pillar, if you will, that is all about ensuring inclusive economic growth and inclusive economic recovery to the COVID-19 recession. In a lot of ways, that starts with access to broadband. As we've been saying, broadband is the electricity of the 21st century. Without broadband, a local community cannot get the best of healthcare, the best of education, the best of job creation and local economic
Ich habe
opportunities.
jetzt hier in Spanien 130 Mbit. Ich hätte im vorigen Jahr noch 1 Mbit gehabt.
We see communities that don't have access to broadband today. And what's true here is true in
Große
many
Bandbreite.
in the world. That's why we're driving forward with our Airband initiative. It's why we're operating now in 20 countries and 25 states in the United States. It's why we're serving 16 million people through partnerships and with new technologies like TV white spaces. But of course, perhaps not surprisingly, one of the things we've learned is that access to broadband is not sufficient to enable local communities to take advantage of the cloud. To do that, people also need access to skills, digital skills.
Yeah.
That's why through Microsoft Philanthropies, we've been building for several years and why we launched just last month the biggest skilling initiative in Microsoft's history.
Yeah.
An initiative that will bring to 25 million people around the world before the end of this year access to new learning content on LinkedIn Learning and through Microsoft Learn, new certifications, new connections to pursue jobs. As we look to the future, as we think about LinkedIn as really being the heart and soul of this effort, but with a connection throughout all the parts of Microsoft, it is so clear that we have a huge opportunity. As Satya has said, we will create a system of learning, not just for employees and job seekers, but for employers as well. And we're putting technology innovation to work, as we are with our new app for Teams, as we highlighted last month.
Denken wir auch an die Entlassung bei LinkedIn heute, laut Mary Jo Foley.
And that's about reaching the
Habe
people
ich nicht mitgekriegt?
underserved.
Es gab heute einige hunderte von Entlassungen bei LinkedIn.
Communities of color in the United
Oh.
States. And in other ways, it really calls on us to always remember the importance of the more than 1 billion people on this planet who have such talent, but live every day with a disability. That's why we've made this a priority for the company as a whole, and why we're continuing to innovate with better products that better serve people with disabilities. When you put all of these pieces together, I think it really highlights, especially with this standing behind me, the huge opportunity and responsibility that we have. In a sense, that's a good segue to the final location where I want to take you, to Microsoft's campus in Redmond. So come with me.
Also, kriegt mehr Zeit als Satya, ne?
Das ist echt
Macht schon
beachtlich, ja.
ganz schön Impact.
Mhm.
I
Über die
thought
Maske.
it would be the perfect place to bring our tour to a close. Behind me, you see 10 construction cranes. We're at the heart of Microsoft's campus in Redmond. A century ago,
Genau.
this was a chicken
Das ist
farm.
nicht Amazon, das ist Microsoft.
1986. It was a
Weil
field
Amazon wächst ja auch dort gewaltig.
here, having left that building next to Burgermaster. Today, you see the heart of a new campus rising. 17 new buildings, sports and recreation fields, even an outdoor plaza with seating for more than 10,000 people at an event like this. But for me, it's more than a construction site. It's a metaphor. Think of this. If you've ever lived in a big city, one of the things you learn is that before you can build a big building, you first have to dig a deep hole. Think about the world we live in the year 2020. Let's face it, we're all in a pretty deep hole. But as Satya has said, it's an opportunity not just to rebuild, but to reimagine the future, not just on a campus, but for every country in which we do business, every country where we work with our partners. We have the opportunity to look to the decade ahead and put the best of digital technology to work, to protect people's fundamental rights, to preserve trust in technology, to advance environmental sustainability, and to combine the protection of public health with what it'll take for a more inclusive economic recovery. Whether you're an employee who works here or somewhere else in the world, whether you're a partner who works with us, whether you work in a building or you work at home, what matters is the opportunity that we have to move forward and do all of this by working together. I'm excited about what the future holds.
Heino, der Kommentar ist berechtigt.
Thanks for tuning in.
Das habe ich auch gerade gedacht, ob sie das so berücksichtigt haben, wo sie alle nach Hause geschickt haben und eigentlich kaum noch einer zurückkommt, ne?
Ja. Die Planungen haben vor Covid-19 angefangen.
Ja klar, die bauen ja schon, also von daher.
Klar.
Thanks, Brad. That was really inspiring. In today's world, digital tech intensity is more important than ever, and we look to each other to help us understand where we're going and how we'll get there. It's my extreme pleasure to welcome Satya back for a few questions.
Thank you so much, Gav, and a warm welcome to all of you who are watching Inspire. I want to start by saying a big thank you to our community of partners. Also want to take this opportunity to recognize and congratulate all of the Partner of the Year award winners. It's amazing to see what you've been able to accomplish. Thank you and congratulations. And thank you for the work you do to serve our customers.
Satya, thank you so much for being here with us today. COVID-19 has fundamentally reshaped how companies across the public and private sectors are operating. How do you balance where Microsoft is today and simultaneously look at how we're going to help customers respond, recover, and reimagine going forward? And how are you approaching this as you talk to business leaders in your daily conversations?
No, you're absolutely right, Gab. I mean, across this phase, or the three phases of response, recovery, reimagine, digital technology and digital transformation is key. In fact, I would say digital tech intensity is key to both resilience as well as transformation. And that's what you see with the partner opportunity. In fact, partners are able to work with businesses, both create that business continuity and transformation. The example we used with Patagonia and Sunrise Technologies and how they use this federation capability of D365 to, they fundamentally constrained warehouse as well as retail environment, and yet Patagonia was able to go do business. I mean, that is amazing work by Sunrise. Agriculture, I know it's Land of Lakes has been working with Tavant to reimagine what agri-tech and how to put insights into the farmer's hands and change is the entire business, how it happens from the farm to sort of essentially the shelf. Or in security, we were able to see the work in Australia by Vigilant IT and Serenitas and how they use the entire end-to-end zero trust technology framework to be able to ensure security for that organization. In public sector, we saw Pivot Pro working with one of the largest EU governments and really use the power of the cloud to bring agility and efficiency and analytical power at a time of acute need. So you're absolutely right. This is a tremendous opportunity for our partners because I think the architectural coherence of our tech stack and our solution areas make us so much more relevant as an ecosystem to our customers.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I've been amazed at the level of innovation,
Ganz schönes Tempo hier drin.
Response that our partners have had. And I think those are all really tremendous examples. You know, we just heard in your keynote, you talk about the importance of having a corporate purpose. Can you talk about how has this notion of purpose been helpful to Microsoft and how should it drive technology-focused companies moving forward?
I think, Gav, going forward, each of us have to have that core sense of purpose that's grounded in the reality that if we are doing well, that means the world around us should be doing well, right? I mean, to me, that's at the core. Like, for example, even take our ecosystem here, which is, to me, for Microsoft to do well, you all as partners have to do well. That's ingrained in our business model. That's why I always sort of talk about us being a partner-led company. But it's much more than that even, because the social purpose of a company is to be able to create profitable solutions for people and planet. And that's what we are doing when we say our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. We want to drive economic growth because of tech intensity, but that economic growth is not just about economic growth, it's also about creating more economic inclusion, whether it's first-line workers, knowledge workers, whether it's small business, large business, across all sectors of the economy in every country, whether it's developed or developing. That's most important. Trust in technology, sustainability, as well as, making sure that
Ich bin wieder erstaunlich, wie wenig Sie über Technik sprechen. Sie sprechen schon seit 45 Minuten lang nicht über Tools und so Features. Das ist schon, das kann nicht auch mal anders, ja.
So these are all things that your corporate purpose should ensure you do. And so when we participate in any community or any country, we want to make sure that our mission and our purpose comes through in all of our activities, not just a set of words, but it's the everyday decision making.
Absolutely. That's so true. It has to be so authentic. That's the only way that we get motivated, that we wake up every day. That's why I love Microsoft. And Microsoft just recently made a significant announcement to address racial injustice across our culture and our communities. What role can the partner ecosystem play in addressing these pressing societal issues?
First, this is a very important issue. And I would say second, we need to start with our own selves, right? I mean, to me at Microsoft, we are redoubling our efforts. We've been focused on it, but we have a lot more progress to make. And especially, I think the world has really seen and come together in solidarity with the core issues that the African-American Black community in our country, in the United States, have faced. And so therefore, it's so important for us to start with representation and inclusion at Microsoft, to start with representation at all levels. This is something that I have to do more work. Everyone at Microsoft has to do more work, and that's where it starts. But we have put forth a framework that we're going to hold ourselves accountable to, which starts with Microsoft, its own change, its own representation, its own inclusion culture, but does extend to our ecosystem as well as the communities. So I think each of you as partners absolutely can make a huge difference. And in fact, I think us working together, perhaps in amplifying essentially this universal frame that we have, is what we will need to do. And it's a very important priority for us. And we're going to sort of have to keep coming back and making sure, most importantly, that we're making progress and we're holding ourselves accountable like we do for any other thing like business results.
Das Wort Framework fällt ja dauernd. Das heißt, möchten die Architekten der Welt der Zukunft sein.
Because it is an incredibly important conversation that we need to continue to have. We're seeing entire societies and countries move from a global mindset to one that is nation first. What does the COVID-19 pandemic tell us about the state of international collaboration? Is the trend of globalization going away? Or do you think we're going to have a structural shift towards de-globalization?
I mean, it's a very interesting question. In fact, I remember coming to the United States just as the Berlin Wall was falling, and the last 30 years for sure have been very different. But, at some level, I take a very historical perspective on globalization. Globalization has been going on for millennia. It'll go on for millennia. The thing, though, to ask is, what about all those communities and people who got left behind in every country, in the United States, in the developing world, in Europe, in Latin America, in Asia, because of globalization? The issue is that I think unless and until we can ensure that every community thrives, the world won't thrive. That, I think, is the biggest lesson we can take from what you just described as perhaps new nationalism. The new nationalism, at least in my view, stems from the fact that the benefits of the last phase of globalization were not evenly distributed. That's where I believe Microsoft and our ecosystem are so uniquely different, right? I mean, take even the fact that our participation in any country through the help of you all leads to more local surplus. I mean, the more employees you have, the more revenue and bottom line you have, more of the customers you serve, small business, public sector, large business, the more surplus they have. That's what I think is the license to operate. As a multinational company, I believe Microsoft only will have a license to operate in any country is if you're creating local surplus. That's ingrained in our business model. So I feel whether it's nation first or
Geht so ein bisschen
globalization,
in Richtung
I think we have to understand
Gemeinwohlökonomie, ne, so
Und
Stichwort.
vor allen Dingen auch halt Umverteilung, ne? Also wie man halt Nationalismus halt vermeiden kann durch gerechtere halt Umverteilung.
operate in a country, and to me,
Wahnsinnig politisch, ja, echt.
again, it's embedded in our core business model.
Frage an die Runde. Ist dieser politische Schlag hier für euch spannend, neu oder dachte, oh nee, wir hätten gerne mehr Tools und IT?
Yeah, it's great.
Das
Okay,
ist mal kurz ein Feedback.
here's Nick Parker.
Kommt das bei euch an? Jetzt müsste ein Cut kommen, thematisch.
Yesterday, I talked about the opportunities from cloud to edge and how Microsoft differentiates with technology innovation, sales scale, and our programs and investments. We deliver this value to and through our partners, tailored to the needs of your business. Our sales leaders make sure that regardless of the partner business model, we have a path of value for your organization. I would like to introduce each of the sales leaders to you. Gavriella, who you know well, Takuya Hirano, Casey McGee, and Nicole Deason. I'd like to give each of them the opportunity now to share a bit about the big cloud to edge opportunities we see for you. So first, Gavriella, what do you see are the big opportunities?
After hearing about the priorities and opportunities for the coming fiscal year, you may be asking, what does all of this mean to my business specifically? Well, there are a lot of you watching this right now, and I know you provide technology services in many different ways. We have value-added resellers, hosters and outsourcers, telecommunications partners, and managed service providers or systems integrators. Your business may be some combination of all of these. Every one of you has an opportunity to provide technology services to customers from the small business all the way up to the enterprise. The question is, where should you
Die Überraschung wäre noch gut, ne?
Ragnar. Value-added resellers. Your best bet in
Peter, was schreibt Peter? Starker Auftritt.
Teams, Power Apps, and Business Central. With many of the customers' apps or backups running in Azure.
Ja, ich meine, das ist ein Statement, was sie da auch setzen, ne? Das muss man mal ganz klar so sagen. Und vielleicht ist es halt auch so, dass Microsoft natürlich auch wahrnimmt, wie die Welt über die Amerikaner denken. Muss man ja auch mal ganz klar so rauskehren, ne? Sie haben sich ja doch deutlich jetzt dagegen gestellt. Ich nehme nur das Beispiel mit den Masken, was sie ja sehr deutlich präsentieren. Ne?
Ja, aber was sie natürlich ganz anders machen als Trump, ist es halt eine globale Strategie und eine globale Vision. Und Trump denkt halt nur national. Also von daher
ja, das meine ich ja.
Genau.
Sie positionieren sich ja genau dagegen gerade, ja? Um zu sagen, so sind wir halt nicht.
Genau, ohne den Namen Trump in den Mund zu nehmen, ja.
Genau.
Genau. Azure VMware Solution and the Data Center Migration Program.
Nee, Peter, die, warum auch immer, weiß ich auch nicht, die war, Ragnar, du weißt besser, letztes Jahr war es auch am Mittwoch, aber...
With Azure, you have a consistent management and governance platform across the customer's entire hybrid estate.
Core node.
Beyond infrastructure, Windows Virtual Desktop is another great area of focus over the next year. Lighting up remote work capabilities and helping customers manage those end users.
Hier ist mal verwiesen, dass es eine neue Partnerschaft gibt zwischen Citrix und Microsoft rund um diese Desktop-Virtualisierungsthematik. Ich glaube, da kommt noch viel mehr.
Business is about connecting people. Then Teams is an obvious opportunity. With Teams, we're enhancing the capabilities of meetings.
Ich glaube, es ist so Cloud-PC as a Service, also nicht Windows as a Service, sondern Cloud-PC as a Service.
So for your customers, you can provide complete calling and meeting solutions for personal and meeting room devices, networking services, calling plans, and managed services. Then, expanding on Microsoft 365, there's a great opportunity to deepen your relationship with customers by offering them deployment, adoption, and managed services. And as you're thinking about
Microsoft Teams Rooms Premium Service Plan.
Azure Edge Zones and cloud-native technologies to deliver secure solutions when milliseconds matter. And finally, to our systems integrators, managed services, and top Azure partners, the Azure Expert MSPs. First, Thank you for all the work you've done this year. Looking ahead, the Azure Migration Program remains our hero program for customer migration around the world, including new workloads with Windows virtual desktops for remote work and .NET apps for website migrations. And we're committed to bringing you more customer opportunities in the year ahead through investments in our large-scale in-a-day workshops and solution assessments. What I'd love to see from you, if you're not already doing it, is building practices in two of the fastest growing workloads, data analytics and AI, and Windows virtual desktops. Those are key areas where you can make a big difference. Whichever category your organization is in, customers of all sizes can benefit from your services.
Also als würde Partnerschaft mit der Citrix keinen Sinn machen. Es gibt zu viel Konkurrenz.
We talk a lot about the importance of digital transformation in the enterprise, but the mid-market customer is no different. It's become very apparent over the last 6 months that they need an infusion of technology to boost their business. When the pandemic struck, the SMB businesses that had already had a way for employees to work remotely, had automated their operations, and were already in managed services contracts with you, well, they were more resilient, right? But those that hadn't really considered digital transformation struggle. And at this point, they aren't sure if they'll make it. We can help those mid-market customers rebound and be ready for the next disruption. They're starving for the services you can offer, and Microsoft can help you come in as the hero.
Thanks, Gavriella. Yes, you're right. There's a role for everyone.
SMB, Alex, das ist dein
You
Thema.
come in, ja genau, you come in as a hero. Also weil die Produkte so super sind. Weil gut, das stimmt ja auch natürlich.
Takuya, what are the big opportunities for system integrators in helping customers on their cloud journey?
Nur wenn ich komme, wissen die noch nicht, dass ich der Hero bin. Das muss ich denen noch erst klar machen. Der Ton ist aber nicht gut, ne?
Predicts that there's a services market of about $1 trillion annually.
Er hat mit Sicherheit dieses tolles Shure-Headset wie du jetzt an.
Ja, also ganz ehrlich, es waren heute und gestern etliche Sessions, wo ich gedacht habe, Leute, was ist denn das, ey? Ich kaum verstehen. Das war so schlechte Quali aufgenommen zu Hause. Okay, aber trotzdem, so ein Mikrofon wäre ja schon schön, ne?
Advisory partners speak with the decision makers every single day, especially in this new economy, when a company needs recovery, adapt, and grow. The influence and the impact of these GSI and advisory partners are tremendous. And then also our partners.
Peter, können wir gleich nochmal drüber sprechen, wenn wir hier durch sind.
And then moving forward is going to be
ja, Thema wird ganz groß
dieses Jahr bewegen wird. Ja.
Can we address together? There are several different solution areas that we can address. There is a migration opportunity.
Das ist nur eine Zwischenstufe, Peter.
Opportunity, and also there's a value creation that we can do together. Migration as SAP migration.
Ja, wegen der Kameras, aber trotzdem.
Also virtual desktop migration. There are many themes around it. Also, Gavriella talked about this new economy and how we work differently in the modern workspace, but it has to be secure, that people feel right, and then they can scale in doing what they're doing every day. Also, the first line applications, the very unique type of the business that they're driving in their own industry, the frontline worker, that we need to empower them. Now, there's a different kind of solution clouds, but it doesn't have to be addressed one by one. It could be a combination of these solution set that the partners can address and take it. Now, we'll talk about solution domain, but how can we best execute partners and Microsoft side by side? I'll raise 2 points. One is industry. Industry is a big momentum. Microsoft is a software company. Our DNA is software, whereas advisory partners and GSIs, they have a strong IP industry as well as business know-how. They know the conversation, they know how the business work together, but by combining together, we can do a lot. So rather than focusing many different solutions in industry, we would like to pick a handful of an industry solution that we can lean in, be selective, intentional, and put resources and go big about it. In similar note, we care about customers, but especially top customers. Now,
Da war Bretts Slot unterhaltsamer, ne?
Majority of the revenue comes from the top partners.
Ja, das ist.
Microsoft too. So what
Ich denke, wir können einiges lernen, Alex, ne? So, wenn wir einfach mal Videos produzieren, wo man auch draußen rumläuft, sich bewegt, ins Kajak steigt und nicht nur diesen Homeoffice-Blick hat. Das fühlt das Gehirn auf jeden Fall viel unterhaltsamer.
Kannst du dir auf meinem YouTube-Channel angucken. Ich habe da schon mal so ein paar Videos von gemacht, wo wir so ein bisschen von draußen gefilmt haben.
Also ich habe hier in Spanien Zugang zum Meer. Ich kann hier noch ein paar Videos drehen.
Yeah, finally, I'll just take this opportunity to unique inspire. I think
2 Stunden sind schon nicht gerade kurz, ja.
The virtual environment. I'll encourage everyone to spend time and then learn more about Microsoft's solution domain. What kind of possibility we can develop and paint together. I also encourage this opportunity to think about the industry solution and unique application, not too many about.
Ihr könnt euch übrigens alle mal Chips oder Bier aufmachen oder einen Wein. Wir haben jetzt 6:30. Ist erlaubt.
Likewise, in a similar note, I would encourage us in the field that there will be better sales alignment to select a common account and work together. I believe that this is a great opportunity that we can collaborate, although in the virtual environment, to create synergy and do big business together. I believe the time is now. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Takuya. There's some great work here with our system integration partners, and there's a clear role for our broader partners to play in that opportunity. Casey, what can you share about what we're doing with ISVs?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Let me start by saying thank you to our incredible partner community.
Björn, vielleicht kommt jetzt noch was.
So our ISVs are the connective tissue between our intelligent cloud and the intelligent edge. You're bringing the power of cloud computing into the hands of workers and devices around the world. Over these last 6 months, we've seen our industries change unexpectedly.
Ich habe mich entschieden, dass ich nicht von meinem Balkon aus streame, weil ich habe hier bei meinen Schwiegereltern gerade besseres Internet. Von daher bin ich hier innen drin im Haus. Keine spannenden Ansichten.
Providing a telehealth platform. As we battle COVID and race to identify treatment targets, virtual clinical trials, and eventually obtain an FDA-approved vaccine, it's showing up in our labs and clinical research partners around the world. Companies like Illumina, PRA Health, and GeneDx are helping biopharma companies move faster and more efficiently than ever before. It's showing up in the classroom and in homes around the world as students can turn to learn and grow. Companies like PowerSchool are stepping up to make remote learning a reality. And it is showing up in our banks and manufacturing facilities and restaurants and in government as you help organizations return to productivity. Companies like Citrix Systems are expanding the definition of remote work. Your contributions have been inspiring. And in every one of these scenarios, you've utilized the power of cloud computing with the physical presence.
Wir müssen ein Spiel machen, so irgendwie so ein Bier trinken oder Schnaps trinken bei jemandem, wenn das Wort inspiring fällt. Und viele Trinkspiele, oder? Passwort, Bingo und Trinkspiele fehlen hier. Beim nächsten Mal machen wir das rein, Alex.
Ja.
Incentives and technical resources and improved field alignment to ensure we're innovating and building with you and helping you scale through Marketplace and IP co-sell. We have 3 years of lessons learned on our go-to-market and co-sell approach, and we're shifting from a reactive approach to a proactive approach, where the field by industry and solution area have the roadmap and incentive to lead with you in their top accounts and opportunities. And we're making enhancements to our marketplace to drive more traffic awareness and a friction-free transaction.
So, Community, was redet ihr gerade? Habt ihr schon was offen?
Ich brauche
gerade mal erfrischende Unterhaltung.
Ich wollte eigentlich ja T-Shirts verlosen heute, ne? Mir fehlen die Live-Emojis in eurem Stream, ja.
Thanks, Casey.
Die müsste man da reinpoppen lassen, Sarah, ne? Das wäre schön.
Genau, ja.
And now more than ever, we'll deliver value to the ISV ecosystem by providing innovation, capacity, and custom.
Aber das Feedback können wir weitergeben hier an diese Entwickler von dieser Streaming-Plattform. Wir machen es ja über StreamYard. Wir können es gerne mal teilen.
What do you
Gutes
see
Feedback.
as the big opportunities for our device partners in the coming year?
Thanks, Nick. A device partner sales team works with device makers, channel partners, and silicon partners.
Ja, Heino, das die Bilder bei Gavriella, ne, ist mir auch schon aufgefallen über dem Sofa. Aber
The world as we know it has changed this year. As a result, we've all changed the way we work, learn, and
Mit neues Device ankündigen. Irgendwas Neues hätte ich jetzt gerne zum Abschied.
with that, we've seen Windows 10 PC usage and Teams usage skyrocket. Fortunately, today's modern devices are perfectly
ja, das könnte ich jetzt auch gebrauchen.
experienced.
Jetzt.
High-resolution displays, optimized microphones and speakers, as well as full-size keyboards are no longer luxuries.
Ich hole mir jetzt mein Estrella-Bier.
To maximize productivity and quality of experience. The iPads and Chromebooks used for infotainment are just not a viable option to meet the needs of remote workers. We see significant numbers of users upgrading their devices to meet security and performance expectations. The magic occurs.
Ja, das mit dem Technologiefeuerwerk
are matched with
kommt noch bestimmt.
IT departments are
Hoffentlich, Björn, hoffentlich.
higher value services with the power of Windows Autopilot, which enables fast configuration and deployment of devices, reducing user setup time by 90%.
Prost, Community. Diesmal an Miguel.
365, providing a great services foundation for partners to add and sell their software and services. Solutions like Lenovo's managed services allow partners to sell services, bill customers on a recurring basis, and provide support. HP Smart Screen detects confidential documents and automatically puts your screen in privacy mode. These are just two examples of how device partners improve customer experience by adding software.
Thomas, das war doch eine Flasche Vino Tinto oder eine Tinto di Verano, oder? Wenn ich mich an Instagram erinnere.
Without talking about the impact that Teams has had on how we now stay connected.
Ja, Peter hat es schon erraten.
As an enhancement to their portfolios, device partners are developing purpose-built Teams devices for virtual conferencing at home or.
Ja, ich habe Feuerwerk angekündigt für diese Inspire, für die Keynote.
Nee,
aber es hat keiner auf mich gehört.
To deliver a great solution to a local nonprofit in Atlanta, Georgia, in the U.S. Gooder is a nonprofit.
One last thing.
Surplus food, picks it up and delivers it to local communities in need.
Ja.
When COVID
wäre jetzt nicht schlecht.
Gooder realized that many students who were getting meals for free at school could go hungry. They quickly worked.
So, was für ein Bier trinkt man bei dir in Hannover am liebsten?
Distribute food to 2,500
Becks.
people in
Okay,
need.
sehr gut.
Microsoft, Dell, and 2 Microsoft ISVs worked together to develop a scalable Dynamics 365 solution to digitally automate orders and provide dynamic pairing and routing for drivers. This enabled Gooder to deliver food to 10 to 15 families per hour and serve thousands of families in one day.
Liebe Community, auch Dank hier fürs Durchhalten, dabei sein.
Also wir haben ja jetzt immer noch über 30 Leute dabei. Wir waren in der Spitze auch mal das Doppelte. Wir sind ja auf 8 Plattformen unterwegs. Nee, stimmt nicht, auf 4 Plattformen, aber mit 8 Streams. 3-mal auf Facebook, 2-mal auf YouTube, Twitter und Twitch sind wir unterwegs.
Zum ersten Mal auf Twitch, genau.
Unser erster Twitch-Stream, ja, genau.
Premiere heute, genau.
Expand into 21 in the near future and to eventually become the largest food delivery platform for servicing people in need.
Ich habe das geahnt. Jetzt geht im Chat gerade mein Becks-Kommentar.
Provide end-to-end, edge-to-cloud solutions.
Naja.
As the world changes, we all have an opportunity to help customers transform with it. Now more than ever, customers have an urgent need for digital transformation, and Microsoft's partners are best positioned to help customers benefit from our collective solutions. I encourage our device partners to take this opportunity to connect with services partners, SIs, and ISVs around the world.
Oh, Leute, ey. Also wenn ich an letztes Jahr denke, ne, da hat Brad Smith eine Veranstaltung gemacht auf der Inspire, wo ich sage, boah, da kann ich gar nicht mehr zuhören. Das war echt langweilig. Ich muss sagen, diesmal hat er echt das Gegenteil geliefert.
Industries, solution areas, geographies and customers. but also how committed we are with helping you, our partners, succeed. Now back to Gavriella to talk about some of our programs and investments that enable all of you to build and sell.
Kai, hi, du bist auch dabei, schön. Ja.
Ja, Felix, wir fühlen mit dir.
As you heard, there are opportunities regardless of the business model that drives your organization. At the same time, we're all experiencing incredible pressures and challenges today. So we all need to find our own anchor point. As I said yesterday, knowing my outcomes.
Habe ich eigentlich schon mal erzählt, dass Gavriella meine Skriptmanagerin war? Für 12 Wochen? Meine Skriptmanagerin. Sie war die Managerin meines Managers.
And scale.
Ach so, okay.
12 Wochen lang.
Balance is incredibly
12
hard,
Wochen.
isn't it?
Ja.
You're probably working harder than you ever have. And you're thinking, when does the day end? And oh, is it the weekend? For me, it comes down to setting boundaries and creating focus. You have to get specific. What are you going to do? And what are you not going to do? When I think of all the things I need to get done, I'll often look at my calendar and think, okay, where are the places that I'll be able to move the ball forward based on my experience working with all of you and my 24 years at Microsoft? Where is my unique perspective going to make the biggest difference? That creates balance.
Okay, Bodo, wir haben jetzt den Tiefpunkt erreicht, glaube ich.
Organizational level.
Ja, was machen wir, Ragnar? Wollen wir noch ein bisschen erzählen, was wir gehört haben? Oder?
Die besten Witze unserer Kinder.
Nee, wir können das jetzt noch durch.
Das ist durch bis zum bitteren Ende. Das ist unser Commitment. Aber ihr könnt uns bitte mal in den Chat jetzt reinschreiben, was euch bisher am besten gefallen hat. Eure Highlights aus den anderen Core-Sessions, Keynotes und Seiten-Sessions. Guckt uns einfach mal so rein, was eure Highlights waren. Ich bin ja im Urlaub, habe also von daher die Ignite nicht komplett 8 Stunden lang durchgeschaut.
Die Inspire hoffentlich.
Die Inspire, ja, genau. Sagt mir mal, was eure Favoriten bisher waren. Das würde ich wirklich gerne wissen.
And unlock new opportunities. And I hope you know, and I hope you
know Felix.
that the Microsoft partner ecosystem is a community you can count on. We scale through each other, and we are in this together.
Gut, also muss man halt auch sagen, das muss ja auch erlaubt sein. Wir wissen alle, dass die Jungs einen guten Job machen, aber das war jetzt heute echt bisher schwierig. Muss ich
man hätte schön nach Brad, nach Brad kam, hätte man aufhören können, ja. Das war dann.
Also, so ein bisschen inspirierender hätte es schon sein dürfen, ne? Also, vielleicht kommt ja noch was. Ja, Dataflex.
So, Marvin, genau, ist sehr schön. Das ist auch mein Favorit. Ich habe das ja auch nochmal in meinem Blogpost und Podcast gestern veröffentlicht. 5 Minuten komprimiert, was Dataflex ist. Ich habe es da noch nicht persönlich in der Hand gehabt, noch nicht getestet, aber schon ein bisschen mal tiefer mich einlesen können.
Können wir gleich vielleicht noch mal kurz drüber reden, ne? Weil es interessiert mich auch nochmal. Ich habe es auch noch nicht geschafft, mir alle Sessions da richtig anzugucken. Was habe ich denn jetzt noch hier? Da haben wir noch was. Björn, unsere Location, Azure Stack HCI. Unsere Location, ah ja, gut. Die haben sich eingeschlossen an der Ostsee und gucken im großen Kino mit vielen Partnern zusammen. Schöne Grüße an euch.
Ja, sehr gut.
Peter, schwierig war so viel.
Whether it be incentives, the marketplace, our competencies, certifications, business insight, looking at the data around.
Das ist ein Insider, da kann ich nichts zu sagen.
Trending and where we need to provide some focus around. And so increasingly as we build out more defined,
ja, definitiv Lists.
More and more into the market.
Ja, darauf bin ich auch sehr gespannt. Da habe ich da noch wenig mitgemacht. Darauf freue ich mich am meisten.
Olli, schön, dass du noch nicht einmal das Wort Tesla in den Mund genommen hast, muss ich an der Stelle sagen. Olli ist fanatischer Tesla-Fahrer. Oh, fanatisch habe ich nicht gesagt.
Sharing leads is an important part of that. And so one of the things I think we're really pleased around is first of all integrating that into Partner Center, but then starting to open up the various mechanisms in which we can share our client and opportunity data with Microsoft through the tools that we use.
NTT Limited has discovered what's possible when we crank up our partnership with the capabilities of Partner Center. And I really want to emphasize two key outcomes. One, what we can do together when you have a solution in the marketplace. And two, the added value that comes when we share pipeline with each other. I've heard you ask, are customers really using the commercial marketplace? Well, I saw an update a few weeks ago that there are roughly 4 million monthly active users going. So I'd say,
Ja, also das, Björn, vielen Dank. Wir freuen uns sehr, dass ihr euch da zusammen sammelt, die Keynote zu schauen. Klasse.
the commercial marketplace will help you gain global distribution without having to create a scale operations.
Habt ihr schon wahrgenommen, die neue Ankündigung rund um Marketplace Commercial, der hat jetzt eine Umnennung halt bekommen und erweitert sich.
Customer gets consolidated billing and streamlined procurement. It's a win-win. So what about pipeline sharing? Through Partner Center, we all have the right
Das wäre spannend gewesen, wenn sie der Marketplace nochmal halt erklärt hätte, was sich da so geändert hat.
with each other
Das wurde,
and with us.
Sie huschen da heute ein bisschen drüber.
naja,
Joint pipeline sharing.
weil das Marketplace gibt, wissen wir ja schon, aber die Veränderungen wären spannender gewesen.
Deals and the success rate of deal closure when we come together. When we co-sell, we are closing deals 3.5 times faster with a higher average win rate. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? When we share pipeline, we're getting the expertise and resources from both sides.
Klar, der Montag ist ja, wenn als deutscher Tag war noch ein bisschen spannender.
Right time.
Aber eigentlich
When we have joint
sind die
visibility,
Sessions auf Inspire schon ganz gut gewesen. Ne? Aber das Connecten fehlt natürlich jetzt auch, muss man ganz klar
Ja,
sagen.
klar.
Ne?
tooling to make it
Ich
happen.
ja letztes Jahr an den Bierpark denke, wo wir oben gestanden haben und
Each other, from our sellers all the way
Ja.
to our leaders.
gut uns unterhalten konnten am Sonntag. Das war schon ganz cool.
Microsoft senior leaders understand just how important collaboration in selling is. And they have a clear message about that for our sellers. In fact, I pulled an internal video clip that went out to all of our sales
Ist
teams.
List nicht GA schon?
I wasn't sure if I could share it
Seit
with
gestern
you.
GA, genau, aber es ist noch im Rollout, ne? Das heißt, es ist schon GA. Also,
Ja, aber Olli schreibt
aber-
Beta-Kunden.
Her
Na
directly.
gut, ich meine,
Nee,
August,
das-
komm.
Here's what
Ja.
Olli, August ist ja auch schon jetzt in 2 Wochen.
Ja, die nimmt jetzt so 4 Wochen Zeit und so weiter, um das komplett auszurollen, die GA. Das dauert ja, bis das überall ankommt.
Ja.
Partners give us the feet on the street to drive proximity to the tens of thousands of customers across all the geos that we have to operate in. They have the relationships, they have the intellectual property, they have the skills. There's just no way that we hit our goals without them.
She is absolutely right. We need each other. Together, we can help pull millions of customers through this challenging time. And ultimately, that's what this is all about. Helping every person and every organization on the planet achieve more.
Amen.
You've heard me say those words before many times. But I want you to stop for a second and think about that word, achieve. What does it mean to you or your customers today? A year ago, achievement for your customers
Yeah.
was launching new product lines and opening new stores or offices. Today, it's about getting to the point where they can actually reopen their doors again. How do you open your doors so that your employees and your customers feel safe? That's something Insight has been spending a lot of time on.
Heino, zuhören?
They have a connected platform solution that was originally designed for a different purpose. And they've made a big pivot to help organizations reopen and get employees back to work safely.
The art of craft beer is a very intellectually curious topic. Having a beer with community.
Jetzt bin ich da. Prost.
technology in to help us get better. And it's exciting to have it as a partner.
Tu mir auch eins.
Because they've got the great technology that they're bringing to the table that we can implement.
Stream macht durstig.
So Insight is a global systems integrator. We really focus on complex enterprise solutions. So Insight IoT connected platforms provide one holistic view into that IoT ecosystem, really control, monitor, and manage, and make decisions upon your IoT ecosystem.
Prior to COVID,
Also Heino, wenn du an das Craftbeer rankommst, dann bitte mal melden.
technology
Du bist mir noch Marzipan schuldig.
our beverage coolers and critical components that we need to have eyes and ears on.
With the COVID pandemic, it really kind of shifted, and they understood quickly that they could introduce what we call detect and prevent type use cases. So really putting things like thermal cameras on for temperature reading that really are going to help detect certain COVID-related instances and also prevent, to a certain extent, the further spread of the disease.
The approach we took was, if I'm not comfortable going there, if I wouldn't take my family here, then why would I expect a customer to come here? So what Insight kind of brought for us was a way to take monitoring that we were already doing and really brought another level of it that let us monitor the health and safety of our customers and our staff as well.
Malte, ich mag sehr, wie du denkst.
Using an IoT platform for temperature control that was originally for food safety items is now temperature control relating to humans.
We didn't have to have an on-site visit.
Freut euch nicht auf das Ignite-Bier. Wir fliegen nicht auch zur Ignite.
All via Teams. I want this tool to work for our
Das
jobs.
Essen war schon anders letztes Jahr auf der Inspire, wo ich war. Also
Figure out how they can provide a safe environment not only for their workers but also
Ich habe
for
keine guten Erinnerungen. Es war immer, abends die Restaurants waren immer teuer gewesen, aber mittags,
genau.
naja, satt werden. Mir auch nicht.
Auch das war schon schwierig.
What I love about Insight's connected platform is that it was built in a flexible and repeatable framework. It was architected with flexibility. And Insight was agile enough to pivot to the outcomes their customers need today. Now, I'll tell you, that didn't just happen, and it wasn't by chance. It's the result of years of partnership and building repeatable practices together.
Leute, wenn ich so auf die Uhr gucke.
Two organizations. That
Lass uns in die Einflugschneise einfliegen.
Der Big Bang kommt hier nie mehr.
Based on what our customers need right now.
Ja.
In this together. The next year, next 18 months is going to be difficult. There's no doubt about that. There's not a specific roadmap to follow, and we're making the map as we drive down the road. But I can tell you this from the Microsoft perspective. As we stay committed to the response and recovery, customers are looking to the ecosystem of Microsoft partners to help them reimagine the future. Together, we will unlock the mystery of getting the world back to work, back to school, and back to play safely. Collectively, we were built for this moment to help the world respond, recover, and reimagine. And you, Microsoft partners, make more possible.
Oh. Langsam werde ich auch pessimistisch, dass da noch was kommt.
Tja, tschüss Kai. Kai geht schon. Ja, das war's, oder? Kommen wir fast, ja?
Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and organization to achieve more. Today, I'm going to take you through how we are partnering to bring this mission to life and create unique opportunity for all of our partners through building and selling intelligent cloud and intelligent edge solutions together. This era of the intelligent cloud and intelligent edge is driven by rapid advances and adoption of these underlying technologies. We call this tech intensive.
Bingo spielen.
Infinitely scalable and distributed, with the capability to adapt to a wide range of locations for where it's used and where it's managed from edge to cloud. Today's intelligent cloud software is focused on simplifying customers' complex and distributed environments and being able to manage this data and provide analytics quickly for any customer's needs. Microsoft's Azure Arc is one example out of many cloud services that clearly shows
Jetzt kommt noch was.
delivering on the intelligent cloud story for partners today. Azure Arc connects the
Daniel, da werden wir gleich drüber sprechen.
who want to simplify complex and distributed environments across on-premises, edge, and multi-cloud. Azure Arc enables deployment of Azure services anywhere and extends Azure management to any infrastructure. Another example is Azure Synapse. It's a limitless analytics service that brings together enterprise data warehouses.
Jetzt machen sie in 2 Minuten noch Technik, oder was?
It gives you the freedom to query data on your terms, using either
Das ist auch nicht so ganz rund, dramaturgisch gesehen.
Azure Synapse brings these two worlds together with a unified experience to ingest, prepare, manage, and serve data for immediate BI and machine learning needs. Now let's talk about the intelligent edge. Edge computing is a distributed model in which computing takes place near the physical location of where data is being collected and analyzed. This allows businesses to maximize operational efficiency through leveraging Azure services and improving performance and automating core business processes while ensuring always-on availability. With the introduction of the PowerEdge XE series, Dell EMC delivers the first server family purpose-built for harsh environments and complex compute-intensive workloads that require high performance and large storage. These robust servers deliver the reliability and security for demanding applications inside traditional data centers or in extreme conditions stretching from outside the data center to the edge of the IT infrastructure. Next is the Lenovo ThinkAgile SX. With a hyper-converged hybrid cloud solution engineered and integrated by Lenovo and Microsoft, you're free to focus on cloud services instead of your infrastructure. Lenovo ThinkAgile SX for Microsoft Azure Stack Hub is a turnkey, rack-scale solution optimized with a resilient, high-performing, and secure software-defined infrastructure. Siemens Healthineers is a global technology company that empowers healthcare professionals to deliver better care for their patients. Using Microsoft Azure, they are driving the digitization of healthcare with innovations like Siemens Healthineers TeamPlay, a cloud-based data management and development network that provides a common space for collaboration, information sharing, and application development. Siemens Healthineers is expanding TeamPlay's capabilities by connecting to on-premise equipment and devices that aren't natively linked to the cloud through a hybrid solution with edge computing and Azure IoT, a solution that's transforming even more health data into clinical insights in these exceptional times. IoT is, of course, another area of tremendous growth and unparalleled innovation. And our broad ecosystem of Microsoft IoT partners, including silicon makers, hardware manufacturers, solution providers, solution integrators, aggregators, are all building a diverse assortment of IoT devices and solutions for businesses across industries.
Jetzt überziehen die auch noch, obwohl sie es voraufgenommen haben.
Windows IoT to build these intelligent edge devices that can be connected to the cloud and used in solutions that deliver business results.
So, wir gucken gleich mal, ob die Kollegen Obungi Tech Networks noch in unseren Call hier dazu kommen. Ich habe die gerade mal eingeladen. Dann können wir mal gucken, was da in Heiligenhafen noch los ist und was deren Meinung zu Azure und den ganzen Neuankündigungen ist. Ragnar, habe ich mir mal erlaubt gerade.
Ja, gerne, klar, auf jeden Fall.
The robot analyzes video and LiDAR.
Mal gucken, ob Björn das hinkriegt.
Avoidance. This ensures the robot can automatically charge, dispense, and refill its cleaning solutions itself without the need for human intervention in this environment. With Microsoft's cloud services and the partnerships of our incredible OEMs, we're continuing to help people stay connected now more than ever. Since Xbox Game Pass for the PC was first released in beta on June 9th last year, we now have 21 OEMs who are bundling Xbox Game Pass for PC with new gaming PCs that are purchased. The all-new Asus Republic of Gamers Zephyrus G15 deftly balances exceptional portability with potent performance to bring an ultra-slim Windows 10 gaming laptop to a bigger audience. The latest AMD Ryzen 9 processor and GeForce RTX 2060 graphics power through work and play, while ample battery life and Type-C charging support keep you running on the road. The blazing fast 240 Hz, 3 milliseconds display offers incredibly smooth gameplay with adaptive sync technology, and Pantone validation ensures impeccable color accuracy for games, media, and more. Whether in a call with a client or on a telehealth visit via a healthcare professional, Teams collaboration
So, jetzt kommt das große Ding.
technology for customers to connect and collaborate. Next, I'm excited to introduce Microsoft Teams Display, a new category of all-in dedicated Teams devices that feature an ambient touchscreen and a hands-free.
Ja, ein paar hier haben das ja schon im Test. Ich habe auch schon zu Hause stehen. Aber Sven hat es auch schon zu Hause.
Ja, genau.
And Yealink will deliver one of the first devices in this category too. Microsoft's Teams displays with Cortana will be available in the US starting this year. Like Teams Rooms, collaboration bars for Microsoft Teams are designed to improve content sharing.
Ich weise auf das Video von Alex vor einer Woche.
Zwei, die Poly habe ich und die Yealink. Beide Videos.
Genau.
Beide habe ich getestet, genau.
Businesses continue to work from home or in this hybrid workplace. Or doctors see patients through telehealth visits. These devices will play a key
Alexa
role
von MS.
to stay connected.
Cortana halt, ne?
30% growth on Windows, thanks to the powerful innovation from our partners on Windows PCs. These Windows PCs are helping us to continue our lives and connect even when we can't always be together. From playing your favorite game with your friends, collaborating with classmates online, or to ensuring your data stays secure as you work from home.
Ja, Olli, musst du dir meine Videos auf YouTube angucken. Dann siehst du das genau. Teams Room System in kleiner.
You can choose your favorite vibrant color and head out. It's mobile with a strong and reliable.
Ich habe zu dem Lenovo ThinkSmart View schon mal einen Podcast veröffentlicht vor einer Woche. Die ersten Eindrücke. Aber wie gesagt, es war noch mit der Version, die ich halt jetzt habe. In den nächsten Wochen wird das neue Firmware-Update ausgerollt und dann kommt dann auch Cortana halt hinzu oder andere User-Interface-Optimierungen.
Cortana kommt bei uns nicht, ne? In Deutschland.
Ja, ich werde das ja auf meinen amerikanischen Tenant dann ausrollen lassen. Ich habe ja meinen amerikanischen Demo-Tenant. Ja. Ein Spiel-Tenant, mache ich dann so alles möglich.
Four-sided Infinity Edge display and take calls comfortably from wherever you need to with intelligent edge audio built in and designed to drown out background noise so you can be heard clearly. The Acer TravelMate P6.
Weil da kann ich wirklich auch endlich meinem Lenovo-Gerät zurufen, hey, füge Alex in mein Team ABC zu oder bitte schick Alex eine Direct Message zu und schreibe ihm, ich komme 5 Minuten später in den Call oder sowas. Sachen, die einfach ein Siri oder ein Google Assistant Alexa gar nicht können.
Which is incorporated into the power button or by the IR webcam, which both use Windows below. You can protect your privacy.
Tschüss, Daniel.
The camera shutter when the webcam's not in use. And all of this for just
Alle, die noch ein bisschen Zeit haben, wir schalten gleich nach Heiligenhafen. Gucken wir uns an, wie die das so machen.
instantly block prying eyes by making your screen
Nochmals alle, die sich jetzt so langsam verabschieden, euch einen schönen Abend, bleibt gesund und vielen, vielen Dank fürs Dabeisein. Hat uns echt Freude gemacht, auch wenn es ein paar Durststrecken gab.
Ja. Avoid downtime and reduce resource drain. The breadth of innovative, intelligent edge devices and solutions from our partners across the PC and IoT ecosystems have delivered tremendous results for our customers in the last year, and we're only just getting started. The opportunities we have to empower people, drive growth, and enable business transformation using the power of cloud and AI combined with these intelligent edge solutions are limitless. I look forward to the innovation we will deliver and sell together. Thank you for joining me today.
Na? Bin gespannt, ob das war.
Azure, Kubernetes, Power BI, Xamarin. How does a developer, IT admin, analyst, or solution architect keep up with all the latest technologies? Microsoft Learn can keep you one step ahead. First off, Microsoft Learn offers free, interactive, hands-on training and is always available at no cost to you. With more than
Schönen Abend.
courses and growing, find a wide
Gut, können wir ja, ist durch, oder? Meister, kommt noch was?
Gib mir mal 30 Sekunden.
and Windows development.
Die Hoffnung stirbt zuletzt.
Offer a concise, interactive, and friendly way to pick up new skills as you venture into new career paths or start preparing for Microsoft certifications. You can complete most of them in 15 to 60 minutes. All have been translated into a variety of common languages. Want to fill in the big picture? Learning Path.
Genau, hier die Empfehlung, bitte schaut euch nochmal die ganzen Kompetenzen an und Lernpfade. Da gibt es viele Neuigkeiten, die gestern angekündigt worden sind.
Journey by creating and sharing a custom collection of modules for you and your team. And use bookmarks to save your favorites to come back to later.
Nicht nur für Techies, sondern auch für Sales gibt es neue Kurse.
Learning is hands-on. The Sandbox environment uses real Azure. You are working with
So, komm.
exactly the same manner as you would with
Ich würde sagen, ich schalte mal den Ton da weg. Das sehe ich jetzt gerade nicht mehr. Wir können es ja nochmal nebenbei mitlaufen lassen.
Ja.
Und ich würde vorschlagen, ich habe gesehen, Björn ist schon da, der kann mir mal einen Daumen geben, ob das klappt mit dem Ton. Ja, genau. Er gibt mir den Ton. Ja, dann nehmen wir mal mit rein. Da ist er.
Ich hoffe doch. Moin. Na, ihr?
Hey, Björn.
Schöne Grüße nach Heiligenhafen.
So sieht's aus.
Ja, was sind eure Eindrücke von der Inspire? Wie habt ihr das aufgenommen?
Ja, ähnlich wie ihr, ne? Wir haben ein bisschen mehr erwartet, aber naja gut, ich denke, diese ganze Covid-19-Geschichte, auch wenn wir es alle nicht mehr hören können, hat natürlich auch den Laden etwas umgekrempelt und von daher, naja, ich glaube, die haben noch ganz andere Bretter zu bohren als wir, ne? Von daher muss man da, denke ich, einfach schauen. Und sie haben halt vorher schon viel rausgehauen, wie du das vorhin gesagt hast, Alex, ne? Gerade bei Teams und Co. Ist ja schon viel bekannt gewesen, ne?
Ja. Die haben ja letzte Woche viel veröffentlicht. Da hatte ich mich ja schon ein bisschen gewundert, warum sie das gemacht haben. Aber gut, ich sag mal, heute hat ja, also Ragnar, sag was. Also Brad hat schon die beste Show heute eben noch geliefert, oder? Das war
auf jeden Fall am unterhaltsamsten, genau. Also da habe ich also am meisten, genau, also da habe ich mich, also da war die Story einfach komplett rund gewesen und so weiter und sehr unterhaltsam und vor allen Dingen sehr visionär und globales Denken. Das war auf jeden Fall inspirierend.
Genau. Und wie habt ihr das mit den Jungs da wahrgenommen, die Session von Brad? Wie ist die bei euch angekommen?
Ja, also wie gesagt, auch hier war die unterhaltsamste und, sag ich mal, wo am meisten rüberkam. Ne? Alles andere war ja doch sehr, sehr low vom Informationsgehalt. Ne?
Also wenn ich mich an letztes Jahr erinnere, da war die Inspire, das war die Keynote, die 2 Stunden, die Satya da gesprochen hat, da weiß ich, da bist du voll geflasht rausgegangen und hast gesagt, Alter, wie geil, wo muss ich unterschreiben, was ist das denn hier, cooler Shit. So ist das bei mir hängen geblieben. Mag sein, war meine erste Inspire, vielleicht war ich da auch noch ein bisschen naiv oder habe das einfach nur cool gefunden, auch so die Atmosphäre, aber das fand ich jetzt schon schade.
Aber ich glaube, das fehlt
so
natürlich auch, ne? Die ganze Atmosphäre dabei. Ne? Ich sag mal, wenn du da mit, keine Ahnung, knapp 20.000 Leuten im Stadion bist, und dann unten die Bühne und auch noch ein bisschen Entertainment dabei. Da hast du natürlich schon eine ganz andere Emotionslage auch, ne, als wenn du das jetzt im Livestream guckst.
Ja. Gut, das ist dann einfach so, ne? Dafür hattet ihr ja eure Session da mit den mehreren Leuten im Kino. Das war sicherlich ganz cool. Genau.
Ja, ich muss sagen, das war auch so ein bisschen, was so ein Event-Feeling hatte. Ich schalte mal hier die Kamera um und die Jungs sind hier am Kickern. Ne? Und da stehen die Jungs auch schon, Daniel und Dominik, ne? Moin. Und das hat schon ein bisschen Spirit hier und macht so ein bisschen was her, dass wir uns einfach mit ein paar Leuten hier eingeschlossen haben und ja.
Ja, definitiv. Das kann ich mir gut vorstellen. Das ist doch was anderes, Ragnar. Ne? Ich meine, du bist im Urlaub. Du wirst wahrscheinlich auch nicht die ganze Zeit aufs Handy gucken können, oder wie machst du das?
Absolut nicht. Nee, schaue ich gar nicht aufs Handy. Ich bin ganz bei euch. Genau.
Das glaube ich fast gar nicht. Du antwortest mir immer sofort, wenn ich was schreibe.
Genau.
Nein, aber das, ich sag mal, das ist schon schön und das ist sicherlich dann eigentlich ganz gut, um zumindest dieses Feeling irgendwie wieder zu kriegen, der Gemeinschaft dort das zu erleben zu können, was dort stattfindet. Ne?
Ja.
Also wenn das hier so nebenbei läuft.
was mir schon fehlt, ist so die Diskussion. Es müssen wir ein bisschen kritisch werden. Also es gibt ja diese neue Partner-Community von Microsoft und da sind also auch 0,0 Diskussionen über die Inspire. Das heißt also, man kann sich natürlich die Sessions angucken, die sind hervorragend produziert, man lernt auch eine Menge, aber so dieser Austausch und Reflexion, das fehlt halt schon ziemlich. Also das wird ein bisschen marginal über Twitter noch abgebildet, aber jedenfalls auf den offiziellen Kanälen findet da erstmal nichts statt. Und das fehlt mir schon.
Ja.
Das stimmt. Was wir so gemerkt haben, dass wir gefühlt hier schon dann in einer anderen Zeitzone sind. Also das Hotel ist auch etwas irritiert, dass wir hier halt bis nachts gestern bis um 1:30 oder 2 saßen und natürlich jetzt nicht so einen normalen Konferenztag haben, wie die das hier kennen. Das ist schon ganz cool, ne? Dass du halt auch mit der Family und das alles so ein bisschen bisschen abgemildert hast, dass du nicht die ganze Nacht im Homeoffice sitzt oder sowas. Also das kann ich nur empfehlen. Wir überlegen auch zur Ignite vielleicht sowas zu machen, ein paar mehr Partner dann oder so. Also das hat halt schon so ein bisschen das Gefühl einer anderen Zeitzone, ne?
Ja.
Ja, weil du dich halt besser konzentrieren kannst, ne? Das habe ich auch gemerkt. Aber gut, okay. Es ist halt was anderes. Microsoft probiert es wahrscheinlich selber auch aus. Es hat ja von denen vorher auch keiner gewusst, wie man so jetzt machen soll. Was jetzt richtig und falsch ist, ist durch Corona, denke ich mal, auch relativ. Der Entertaining-Faktor wäre natürlich schon ein bisschen wichtig gewesen, wahrscheinlich, ne? Auch um durchzuhalten bis zum Schluss. Okay, gut. Was habt ihr denn noch mitgenommen? Sag mal, Ragnar, hast du jetzt was gesehen gestern irgendwie aus den Sessions oder bist du da nicht zugekommen vor lauter Sonne?
Nee, eigentlich kaum was. Also wie gesagt, dann mal die Keynote und so weiter. Aber ich habe mich, eigentlich 80% meines Wissens kam halt wirklich durch dieses halt Book of News, was ich einfach mal halt durchgelesen habe. Von daher weiß ich eigentlich am meisten über die Blogposts und Social Media und Book of News.
Können wir noch mal gucken. Ich habe das mal aufgemacht. Ich weiß nicht, ob ihr das alle kennt, zumindest die jetzt noch dabei sind. Ich finde es ganz cool. Können wir den Link ja noch mal teilen gleich im Chat.
Ich habe ihn gerade dabei. Ja, genau. Der Link ist jetzt hier.
Was ihr dann habt, ihr habt hier die Möglichkeit, relativ einfach zu sehen, welche Veränderungen sich überall ergeben. Klar, bei mir ist da natürlich irgendwie Teams offen, kann man hinspringen und schrägt mal auf den Punkt schnell erklärt, was im Prinzip sich ändert. Ja, was die Idee ist. Relativ kompakt, eigentlich schon ganz gut gemacht. Ne? Wobei wir da eben auch sehen, dass da nicht viel Neues jetzt dazugekommen ist mit Teams in dieser Woche zumindest. Ne?
Genau, viele Sachen wussten wir schon vorher, dass es dann, wie gesagt, die Walkie-Talkie-Funktionen gibt und diese Helm-Integration für die First-Time-Worker und so, das wussten wir halt schon. Wir wussten schon was über die List-App, von der waren viele Sachen, die vorher noch in der Preview waren, die wurden jetzt quasi angekündigt als allgemein verfügbar, GA-Modus, sowie die List-App oder Yammer, das ist noch Yammer. Viele wurde auch in den GA-Modus angekündigt. Aber das sind ja keine Neuigkeiten, weil das macht Microsoft eigentlich immer auf Konferenzen, dass sie entweder eine Preview ankündigen oder ein GA ankündigen. Von daher war das erstmal nicht so wirklich neu. Von daher, aus Teamsicht, Data Flex war für mich eine sehr große Überraschung. Und der zweite Punkt, den ich überraschend fand, war dieses ganze Thema rund um diese neuen Managed Services Pläne, also Microsoft Teams Room System Managed Services Pläne. Und dann der neue Lizenzplan rund um diese Advanced Meetings und Advanced Calling Funktionalitäten, wo wir aber noch selber halt rausfinden müssen, was genau in diesem neuen Lizenzplan eigentlich drin ist, genau.
Ja. Gut, Ragnar, vielleicht machen wir noch mal eine Sonderfolge, dass wir noch mal gucken, wenn du aus dem Urlaub wieder da bist. Ach nee, da bin ich im Urlaub.
Dann nehmen wir uns danach Zeit,
mal gucken, dann mache ich das aus dem Urlaub raus, ist ja auch okay. Wo wir noch mal kurz aufarbeiten, was ist eigentlich neu gekommen, was hat eigentlich wirklich einen Impact gehabt. Ne? Und dass man das vielleicht noch mal ein bisschen diskutiert. Irgendwie, dann
sollten wir tun, weil wir brauchen, ich habe also auch noch wenig Erfahrung jetzt mit der List-App gehabt und so weiter, dass wir uns da einfach mal Zeit nehmen, um diese Tools selber auszuprobieren. Vielleicht habe ich dann auch schon wieder eine neue Version von dem Lenovo ThinkSmart View mir ausrauen lassen auf dieses neue Display-Device, auf diesen neuen Formfaktor, der jetzt vorhanden ist. Beim ersten Testen, wo ich ihn hatte, war ich noch nicht ganz so sehr euphorisch, aber jetzt kommt ein neues User-Interface und Cortana-Integration. Da werde ich, denke ich, meine Meinung auch nochmal stark ändern. Also von daher sollten wir dann nochmal eine weitere Folge machen, wenn wir noch mehr Hands-on-Erfahrung haben mit den neuen Möglichkeiten.
Gut. Ja, Leute, es ist kurz vor 7:30. Ich schicke Grüße nach Heiligenhafen. Schön, dass du kurz reingekommen bist, Björn. Verabschieden euch mal an der Stelle ganz kurz. Ja,
sehr schön, habt eine gute Zeit, ne?
Eure Aktion,
ciao, ciao.
Großartig, viele Grüße alle. Lass dich gut gehen.
Genau, ja. Ragnar, dann würde ich auch vorschlagen, wir beschließen den Abend. Ich hole mir jetzt auch gleich, glaube ich, ein Bier, würde ich sagen. Und
Verdient, genau, ja.
ja, schön, dass ihr alle dabei gewesen seid, dass ihr heute uns gelauscht habt, so gut das denn eben ging. Wir haben unser Bestes gegeben. Und ja, Ragnar, hast du noch abschließende Worte für die Community?
Lasst uns noch mal kurz wissen, ob ihr gerne in der nächsten Folge eher einen technischen Deep Dive hättet in Neuigkeiten oder ob wir auch mal über die kommerziellen Sachen sprechen sollten, weil es gibt ja auch vieles neu jetzt auf den Inspire rund um Partnerschaftsthemen, also Änderungen der CPOR-Möglichkeiten und im Partnercenter gibt es ja ganz viele Neuigkeiten, im Marketplace und so. Also das heißt, wir könnten auch noch mal einen ganzen Stream-Stunde locker füllen rund um die eher Business-Themen der halt Inspire. Wir müssen ja nicht immer nur rund um die Tools kümmern. Lass uns mal wissen, ob da auch ein Interesse da ist, dass wir mal aus Business-Sicht das nochmal neu beleuchten.
Ja, wir
haben heute etwas zu kurz.
Wir haben 10 bis 15 Sekunden Versatz drauf. Müssen wir mal ganz kurz warten, bis das gesendet wird und der Stream auch antworten kann.
Das sind auch Sachen, die in diesem Book of News gar nicht halt drinstehen, weil es ja wirklich nur um die neuen Produktankündigungen geht. Aber die Inspire ist ja nicht nur im Vergleich zur Ignite nicht nur so hochklassig, sondern es gibt viele neue Themen rund um Partnerschaften und Ausbau und Wachstum. Genau, Peter sagt, er würde gerne mehr wissen, weil es auch eine Sache, wo ich gerade mit mir spreche. Ich würde auch noch mal gerne nach meinem Urlaub noch mal tiefer in die Sessions dann halt reingucken und muss auch noch mal was für mich aufarbeiten und könnte es dann gleich auch da mit euch teilen, nachdem ich das dann verdaut habe.
Gut, ja, wahrscheinlich sind denn die Einzelnen, wir sehen ja hier schon relativ viele Abschiedsmails. Es ist ja auch fortgeschrittene Stunde, wir wollten ja eigentlich auch um 7 fertig sein.
Ja.
Wir greifen das sonst noch mal auf, Ragnar.
Oh, lass uns den Sack schließen, genau, und zubinden.
Genau.
Nachdem die Katze jetzt aus dem Sack ist. Wie was ja auch.
Gut. Dann würde ich sagen, schön, dass ihr alle dabei gewesen seid.
Ja.
Ne? Ragnar, hat
echt
wieder Spaß gemacht mit dir.
Genau.
Ich wünsche dir auf
Vielen
jeden Fall
Dank.
noch einen schönen Urlaub. Einen schönen
Dankeschön.
Urlaub noch. Ne? Und ja, dann würde ich sagen, macht's gut.
Alles klar, ihr Lieben. Macht's gut. Bis dann. Bleibt gesund.